Mm-hmm. Hello.
Test, test, test. Okay, now people should be able to hear me as well. Hi everyone. Sorry about that. I recently updated OBS and I didn't double check this setting for the AMA. Richie. Okay.
Okay.
How are the volumes? Do you need us to make
Hello.
it
Okay, all good.
lower, higher?
No, sounds good. All good.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So, do you want to start with the questions that I got in the chat last time and didn't have a
Sure,
chance to
yeah,
read?
yeah.
Okay. So, some people left some comments, by which I mean one person, left a ton of comments last time with like questions that he kind of wanted answered.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will get to that while we wait for people to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, first question is that I started playing Bloodborne again, noticed the doll sleeps a lot, like every other or every third time I show up in the dream, she's asleep, and the same thing happens with Gurman. And they were wondering, like, what are the mechanics for the doll sleeping and Gurman sleeping? And is there, like, triggers for it? So
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, like, this is confirmed through looking at the code. The doll sleeping is just a flat 10% chance every time you go to the dream. So if she's doing it like frequently, it's just random. It's just 10% chance every time. Her other actions have their own set percentages, but that is a lot of that is governed by whether or not you have activated the Hunter's Nightmare yet, because it's tied to that gravestone that uses the warp.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've activated it, a lot of her things actually get cut off, and she won't do them. But just her sleeping is 10%. Gurman, I don't know. But I suspect that is probably also. I think that's random. The doll's behavior, it's also tied to like the moon phase, and I think Gurman must be the same because he will only say certain things at certain points. So I think him sleeping is part of that. Hello, everybody.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Okay, hello to Zemon Koflol, Autumnal Void, Big Ali, Danielle, Luna, Rusty Oatmeal, Vassal, who we just talked to, Jake, Ruffy, Jennifer, Emlyn, and Rusty Oatmeal again. Hi. Okay, so other questions. Why do the brick trolls seem to be friends with the crows? Sin. Why do you think they're
I
friends with the
think we
crows?
talked about this in a
Did
podcast
we?
before. They're basically pets. They
Okay.
domesticated the crows. Like, there's
Okay.
nothing else to do. Have you seen Yarnum?
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
true.
blood and crows, so might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I think it's just enemy placement. Because like you have a bunch of really fast little things and then one big strong thing together to make the encounter work that way. So then we have a question that's like the brick trolls sometimes say so-called dear sister. WTF? Sin. Why do you think they say that?
Um, because they're very cold and it's very sad because they transformed and they're thinking of their
Mm.
sister and they're like, I'm so cold.
And
Where's
they're
my
too big to
family?
wear clothes that are
Yeah,
warm
yeah,
because they're
it's
too big now.
pride.
Mm.
Yay.
I relate. So, um, that line is actually really interesting because it's part of the voice kind of bank. And they have other lines after that that aren't used, and they're all like "sister, sister, it hurts, sister, help me." And I don't know for certain, and I don't know why the fuck they say them, but I have a suspicion it's like an old version of the Clock Tower patients. Because if you listen to them, they're always like, help me, sister, come here, sister, come here. Like they're saying, like, Lady Maria, help me, but they say, Lady Maria, I'm so hot instead of I'm so cold. But I seriously think that dialogue might have been repurposed
Do they.
from.
Go ahead.
No, I think it might be repurposed dialogue, and originally the big guys just grunted. I don't know.
Do they also say, man's never hot. Perspiration thing.
No, I don't believe they do. But
Thing goes pra pa 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 pa. Skru pa
I'll look
pa.
for
Bum
it
bum
when we get a
bum bum
chance to
bum.
look at the when we
Skia.
get a chance to
Boom
look at
boom
the
boom boom
pre-release
boom boom.
versions. I'll give it a look. I'll keep
Thank
an
you.
eye out for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why
I
does Henrik have armor?
apologize for getting some of those lyrics wrong. It's been a
I
while.
have no idea what you're even talking about.
Thank you.
So, oh yeah, there's people mentioning other unused lines like Idona will be the judge is one. So we'll skip back further into this. There's references in like unused dialogue to three characters who we have literally no other evidence of. We don't know who they were. We don't know what they did, but they are. It's Idola because we actually got the script. Like those lines aren't subtitled; they're just in text. But we have the script, and the script says it's Idola, Idola. It's Idola. Luvan, Louvan, and Aragon, which is Aragon. And I think those are all they're like Mediterranean names. Like Louvan, Idola, and Aragon. And we have no idea where they're from. We have no idea what they were supposed to be, but the lines are Aragon's justice is no more. This is the judgment of Louvan, and Idola will be the judge. No idea who
Interesting.
they are. Yeah, but that's literally it. We don't know who they are, but someone wrote them down and they were recorded.
Very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like some
Um,
sort of saints or something. Some sort of
yeah,
sinners.
they do because they're from like the mob, so it's like the mob dialogue. They're like Idola will be the judge, like that. So it'll be some like Yarnum like saint or something who's doing it. There's also this really interesting unused voices for them where they're yelling like hand over the children, hand over the children. So it looks like there were like events in Yarnum that that were like designed and they recorded voices and didn't go through with them. So you get this impression like there's a mob going around trying to like get children from people to like possibly use in some sacrifice. So there's okay, so why does Henrik have armor that's resistant to bolt? I don't know. I think they needed there to be a set that was resistant to bolt, so they made it Henrik's. Because I don't know who else's it would have been. You can make like you can say maybe he like had something to do with Lauren. I don't know, but like the only things that do bolt damage above ground are Parl and people with a Tonitrus. So
Maybe his tailor was from Lauren.
possibly. Why is the first brick troll banging on the door? I don't. I think it's just because they want you to do a stealth kill on it.
Yeah.
But like that is again interesting because it's banging on the big. They're talking about the one that's like opposite where the big crucified scourge beast is, and there's a on the other side, and it looks like it's trying to get out. But that doesn't make sense because they're working together.
Maybe
Because you'd think
falling out. It's like I'm tired of working with these people.
Yeah,
Let me out.
yeah, it's really weird that they did that because it implies that like that troll, well, that huntsman's minion, is somehow against the other Yarnamite huntsman. But then that same troll will just wander around and like it won't not aggroing anything, and there's other huntsmen around and they don't fight it.
I think
And
maybe it's a
yeah,
case of just like Hulk smash, just like he's doing whatever.
yeah. Do you think he just maybe he just can't fit through the regular door and he's like, open up, open up.
It's not a funny prank, guys. Open up.
He's stuck. So why is the dog barking at the old lady's door at the beginning? That was added. That was patched in. If you play unpatched, the dog's not there, and I think it's there to make you notice the door.
That's smart.
Yeah, because otherwise, because if you've been knocking,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say if you've been knocking on doors up till then, everyone's told you to go away.
Yeah.
So you're gonna start ignoring doors once you hit that point. I think it's there to make you realize, like, when you go up and kill that dog, that triggers her to say, "Oh, a hunter! Like, you getting at us? Are you gonna get us out of this mess?" Which tips you off that she's not a regular window NPC.
Because I think the only cue that you can actually knock on a door, get a response or whatever, is
Yeah.
like the lamps are red, which is
Yeah,
not
but like
noticeable at
even
first.
then, what she will do is she will actually talk to you even if you don't knock, to
Mhm.
signal that
That's
she's
good.
there. If you kill the dog, she says thank you for like, hey, you're going to get us out of this mess.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why are statues chained together in Old Yarnum? I think that's like a really complicated question that we should probably talk about in a separate thing,
Okay.
because I don't know, but there's a lot going on in Old Yarnum. Um, only rune we see in Thumaru is the Hunter rune. That's like technically correct, but you can find other runes in Thumaru, like in the chests.
Mhm.
So it's like those runes do exist down there, they're just not part of the architecture. It talks about messengers all over the tombs, like, yeah, that's like a recurring design. I don't really know what to say, because like it is, and like they use them as little gargoyles. There's an interesting you get a little like a triptych you sometimes see. There's like a messenger, a regular messenger, a messenger in robes, and a messenger that's furry and has horns.
Mhm.
And that you can clearly see, okay, this is recurring, the notion of like human church beast is like happening over and over again across all these civilizations. So I think it's that.
Mhm.
And finally, is there a connection between the Keeper's bone ash armor and the bone ash from Hemwick? So kind of like the thing, I guess we'll talk about this if we ever do more cut stuff, but like the idea of cremating people is really really massive in the old versions, and they didn't really keep much of it. But there's a really big thing about burning people, and like those the fires in Yahagol, you know, those ones, it's like a corpse that's burning. Those are like all over the place, and they're tied to these like kind of bone ash specters that come up. They're like people made like Fumarians, but they're literally made of fire. They're like burning up, and they seem to be tied to the burning things, almost like, I don't know if people hear how much of the Dark Souls 2 DLC you've done, but there's the Shulva area, and in Shulva you get attacked by these ghosts that are tied to tombs. And it's almost like that. It's like, this is just from reading like data. I don't know how it actually operated, but those burning warriors seem to be tied to the burning corpses, almost like the person burning is then reincarnated as the burning effigy. And there's like all these references to like sacrificial flame, and there's so much stuff about flame in old versions that they seem to have downplayed as it went along.
Cool. Thank
Cool.
you,
Yeah, so
Richie.
that is everything. Who else is right? Oh, Alhazred's here. Hello. Hello,
Excuse me.
Metal Gary. Hello, Danielle.
I'm just
Hello,
gonna
Dan
pull up the
Toki.
other questions.
Alan's asking who's who. I'm Sin. That's Richie. Uh,
Hello, everyone. I'm a big bully.
yeah. Alien Dino Boy says that Richie has good hair, so you've done well. It's got a lot of volume to it.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
let it dry. But you know what? Because ever since the pandemic, because washing your hair like every day or whatever is not really good for it. But when you
Yeah.
work with people, like you might
Mm-hmm.
have to do it. You might have to wash it every day or almost every day, dry it, straighten it, curl it, whatever to appear presentable. But it
Try it straight
damages.
and curl it, Richard.
Dry it, straighten it, curl it, fix it, dye it, cut it, and upgrade it. Anyway,
Yes.
but because pandemic and camera isn't HD enough, people can't really tell,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so
Yeah.
it's been good for my hair because I have barely been drying it. I have been like washing it less. And this actually washed it like, I don't know, a few days ago. And then I
Mm-hmm.
just let it dry naturally because I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
like heat it up. That's cool. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Joseph said that they can't stay, but they wanted to drop in before working, and they said hi.
Thank you.
Hi.
Bye. So, Richie,
Yes.
before this went live, a few days before,
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
posted on Patreon a post asking people to list their questions. And that's like a mini benefit of Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
so I
are we
have them
going to
right here.
address
What?
that this is the one Reborn AMA?
Oh, okay, yeah, because you started with we
Yeah.
didn't do a proper intro because you're
Yes,
like, there are
yes,
questions I
yeah.
need to answer or I
That
can't
was
sleep at
that
night.
was the post. That was the pre-credit sequence addressing the cliffhanger from last time.
Okay. So,
Okay.
so today we're doing a very special AMA. It's called The One Reborn?
Sin, is that the One Reborn AMA or the One Reborn AMA? I'm a little confused.
Well, Richie, it's both.
What?
Nani? so,
Nanike?
so we took questions about The One Reborn and Katekyo Hitman Reborn.
Well, you took them. I wasn't involved.
So, Rich is not involved in a lot of things, actually.
I'm not allowed to. You won't let me join Patreon.
What? Because
But
your
I can
idea
see
of
what
joining
you're
Patreon
posting.
is like paying $2 to look at it, and it's like, why? Patron takes a cut, and then it's like it comes back to you. Like there's.
Yeah,
not...
but I'd be willing to
So-
part with $2 a month to
my
see what
God.
you're doing.
Well, you just have to ask. I can send you the links. Rich is like, so I cannot. We're not dealing with this today. We're not dealing with how misrepresentative of situations you are. Not now. So,
Okay.
what we did is we posted a
Mhm.
post on Patreon asking people to ask questions about The One Reborn and Hitman Reborn. And here is what we got. And Richie, if people wanna blah 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 see that thread, more worse content, like, subscribe.
Patreon.com/Sinclair Law.
For
Perhaps
just
we'll run out of reborn questions.
for just the
What?
cost of a
What?
cup of coffee a month, you can.
Well, no, but you could just pay $2 once
Yeah, one
and just
coffee
annoy
a
us,
month.
and
Yeah,
then
that's it. One
and then
coffee
leave.
cup ever in your
Nothing we
life.
can do.
Yeah.
There are people who donate like $10 or $20 at a time to this, and it's like you
You can just donate too.
you get nothing for that.
Well,
You should donate $2.
you know what? Two
Yeah.
is the best one because it has the most content and the most like watchable
Yeah.
content. But
Yeah.
the 5 one has Saturday Night Snack Covenant. So
Sin, what's that?
people know what that is because the good
Okay,
ones
yeah.
are for free on the channel. Because that's
So
our
those are
motto.
those
the
are the
stuff
good ones.
is free. Oh my god,
Yes.
what a passive aggressive bitch. I cannot with you today. Okay, first question is posted by Fake Name. Have you ever seen the anime Gash Bell? I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Yeah, you have, because I showed you part of
Oh.
it, and you said,
You
"What
did?
the hell is that?"
Oh.
And I even said, like, in a parallel universe, you saw this, and we had to do episode by episode reaction to Gash Bell.
Okay. Oh, is that the one with the like I was like, this does not look cute.
Touch my heart, very melon.
Okay, that was funny, but like the
Yeah.
the babies were not cute. They were
Wasn't a
creepy
baby, it's like
kids.
a weird puppet thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay.
And Fake Name also has a question about Bloodborne. Is the Hamwick Window Woman talking about the One Reborn when she says the corpses are moving? How could they possibly know what was going to happen in Yahargul?
Well, there are eye collectors in Yahagul. They're guarding like the prisons and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Mensis were like in cahoots with, although it's complicated because there's also eye collectors in the labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not clear exactly, but yeah, I think Mensis are in cahoots with the eye collectors as well as the Snatchers because they just need as many body parts as they can. And like Hemwick's where the corpses are being sent, so obviously they would want to be involved. The issue though is that there's no evidence of Mensis being in Hemwick. Like there's no Mensis people or anything there, so
Thank you, Richie.
yeah.
Tom said I created a monster. I think Tom may have been one of the cultists that suggested that like we do podcasts that are called Reborn, but people don't know.
Oh
it's
yeah.
about. I think him
Yeah,
and Shook, a few
yeah.
people conspired. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Doom Kitty may have been involved as well. Yeah.
Okay. AD
Okay.
asks, what is the one and when were they born the first time? Is this the whole creature or just the corpse riding on top of it?
Hmm.
Basically, I think the question is, could you briefly tell us, like, who is the one reborn?
The corpse riding on top is kind of interesting because internally
That is not what I just asked you to do. Oh my
I'm
god. Richie,
getting there.
no, you just have to generally tell us what is the one reborn and then you go there. Why don't you just listen? I have outlines planned in my head from working with you so much. People
Yeah.
think
Okay.
you're the organized one, but actually, no. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you,
Also,
Sim.
have y'all seen his room? I'm just saying.
It's very neat. It's very organized. Look at it. It's all geometric. It's color coordinated.
I mean, I like blank wall.
Pink,
Okay,
teal.
that's
Pink,
organized.
teal.
One
Teal.
shirt, wall, and
Mauve.
Fallout merchandise.
Mauve.
That's what
White.
organized
Mauve.
is.
Mauve. Pink. Teal. That's the color scheme.
Also,
I had to go to a lot of places to find all of these.
oh my
All right. Had a lot of time at Kmart. Thank you, Sim.
Also, I just want to point out that I put my merchandise here because
Yeah.
this
On
is
a
usually. Thank you, Richie. This is usually in the closet, so people don't get to see it. It's my Coca-Cola shirt, and
Okay.
this is usually behind me, so people don't get
Yep.
to see my dog meat. Go ahead, Richie.
Thank you, Sin. So, Sin and I also talked to Acer about it because Acer's making this like gigantic Bloodborne thing that we've sort of been talking to him about because he wanted to like a second opinion on stuff. So, when you go to Yahagul, right, everything that's not a Bell Maiden is dead. That's kind of important, or a Bell Maiden or an Amygdala if you want to be pedantic. So, like, the enemies you fight there are the phantoms that are conjured by the Bell Maidens that are made out of blood. Okay, so they're just like dead things that they brought back to life. There's the Scourge beasts that are made out of body parts, and they're all crawling around near dead Snatchers. So it's like the implication, I think, very obviously, is that those are the bodies the Snatchers had in the sack, and they've somehow sprung to life as this monstrosity killed the Snatcher and then are prowling around. And I actually think literally it is one per Snatcher, like the way that they're laid out. There's the cramped caskets that are just big masses of like skulls and arms that pull themselves around, and they make a point of having them jump out of the hearses that had the corpses in them. And also there's like some wandering nightmares, and I believe that is actually all. Oh, and there's like phantom dogs as well, but like the dogs. So everything in Yahagul is dead, and all the body parts, like the blood and the bones and limbs and things, are just coming back to life because of what the Bell Maidens are doing. Because they're ringing the bells, that's bringing stuff back to life. That's why when you kill the Bell Maidens, the blood thing stops spawning. So all the one Reborn is just a really, really big one of those. Because all those people in Advent Plaza, they all got sacrificed in the ritual that beckoned the moon. So there's just a ton of dead shit everywhere. And the little piles of dead shit came back as the enemies you fight up to the one Reborn. And the one Reborn is just a really, really big one. And it looks like it's really big because everyone got killed in Advent Plaza, so there's so many dead bodies there. And the Bell Maidens that summon it, they look to be like higher ranking ones because they have the red cloaks instead of the black ones. So it looks like just the senior Bell Maidens got together and they all performed a ritual together and just made a really big thing. And that's, as far as I can tell, all it's supposed to be now. There's older versions where it has more significant sounding names. Like it's called like the Incomplete False God and stuff. And I think that's led to a lot of the speculation. Not necessarily the names, but like you can sort of tell looking at it, like this looks like it's meant to be more important than it is. that has led to a lot of the theories that, like, oh, is the One Reborn actually, like, an attempt to make a great one? Is it Menses fusing themselves into, like, a bootleg amygdala? Someone, I forget exactly who it was, but someone who I'll remember later on, sorry. Someone who listens, and they're a student of, I think it's like comparative languages or something. They messaged me to say, like, yeah, I study Japanese culture and stuff, and there's like a reference in the kanji that they use to the One Reborn actually being an incarnated god rather than a resurrected, like, just some dead people. And if you want to go into like precedents and things that Miyazaki keeps ripping off, sorry, being inspired by, um,
Shade.
people, if people know the artificial Bayolet arc from Berserk, there is a character in that who attempts to sort of like in Berserk basically there's these things called Bayolets. They look like the red eye orbs from Dark Souls because the red eye orbs from Dark Souls are just Bayolets. And if you have one, it's like this is your sort of path to godhood. If you use it, you will transform into like you'll ascend basically into a new like more powerful form. And there's a character in it who he doesn't have one, but he thinks he can make one. So he creates. Actually, I think this is where a lot of Latria came from. He makes what he calls an artificial Bayolet, and it's just a big like chunk of like flesh and things that he then lowers himself into to be reborn as like a deity, as if he had like a real one. And I think that may have been an older like idea behind what the One Reborn was. That's like the person on the top, maybe, or just someone, tried to fuse with a whole lot of dead people to become like some sort of great one deity thing. And what I was getting at the beginning, when Sin told me to stop talking, is that if you look at the code and the way that the One Reborn actually works, the corpse body down the bottom and the little guy at the top who's like directing it and going like this, they're two separate entities. The way the game works now is that it treats them both as having the same health bar. But you'll notice, like, when you're fighting it, you can hit the bottom of it, it'll stagger it, and it'll fall forward. And the corpse is, like, sort of like, it's doing this at a height you can hit it. So if we go back to Tower Knight, which this is clearly a riff on, because it's literally the same arena, and it's almost the same mechanic. The way you fight Tower Knight is that Tower Knight can only be hit in the head. You have to hit him in his ankles and legs until he falls over and then hit the head. Adjudicator is the same, but this is more obviously Tower Knight because of the arena. So you could actually, if you had made the bottom part have unlimited hit points, it would work exactly like Tower Knight. You just had to hit it till it fell over and then you damage it. So I think that was in there. That DNA is in there somewhere. But as far as what it is now, it's just a pile of dead things that are squirming around.
And you made a really good comparison to the Tower of Latria. Because,
Yeah.
like, Yahar Ghul and... I had another thought. But anyway, Yahar Ghul is very Tower of Latria.
Well, Mensis is like...
Yeah, there we go. Jesus.
Yeah.
Mensis is very
Yeah.
Tower of Latria.
Like, the way that in Mensis, they're like... The heart of Mensis, when it's like this big sewn together mass of flesh, and when it cracks open, all the centipede monsters come out. That's kind of what the artificial Bayolet is. It's
You
like
said
if we
the
just...
heart of Mensis.
Oh, the heart of Latria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's meant to be like Demon Souls is the game with heart, but Bloodborne is the game with a mind?
Whoa. It's like you and me.
Who's who?
I don't know. Thank you, Richie.
With the stomach and the hair.
We're the stomach and the hair, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, High Velocity has a question. Oh, before High Velocity, before we get to your question, we're just gonna finish ADs. So Richie, who's the factor Antal?
He is a person from Yahagul who defected, and he's fighting back against Mensis.
He's a traitor. No loyalty.
Well, he's a traitor to the worst people that there is.
No loyalty.
So, what if he's loyal to just people, and then he sees what Mensis are doing?
Has he met people? Oh.
Thank you, Sin.
Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna take a break from patron questions to look at the chat. High Velocity is saying, Richardson, I have a question. I'm a new fan. Oh my god, you're a fan? Like, I had a picture of a fan.
Hang on.
It's cool. It's cool.
I can do this.
Yeah. Oh my god. High Velocity, what are you doing in Rich's house? I'm sorry if this has been asked.
Try to dry my hair with this. It's still wet. Continue.
How did you how did you guys meet, and who is older?
Sin, how did we meet?
Okay, oh my god, here we go. If we start the story again, we're not gonna have time to answer any more questions. Basically, long story short...
The thing is,
here's the thing. Okay, but first we have to say, like, okay, I met my boyfriend. Love him very much. And he's really cool. No, first we have to say, oh my god. Long story short, Todd Howard. But do you want the long story?
it's not that long.
It is that long because we have to...
I think explaining Todd Howard's role in it...
Oh my god, you and I met because of Bloodborne.
Yeah,
I
you
got
could say
Bloodborne
that.
because of my boyfriend. I met my boyfriend because of Fallout.
Yeah.
So...
Do you want me to tell the story?
You always tell it wrong because you misremember every single fact in this story. So I don't know if I trust you.
Alright. You do it.
Okay, basically... Alright, we'll do it. We'll do the older parts in fast. I met my boyfriend. We love each other very much. My boyfriend's like, oh, she likes games and scary movies. I have the perfect thing for her. Her, who plays games such as Crash Bandicoot and Fallout. The perfect game is Bloodborne because she's never played a Soulsborne game before. Perfect game. We almost broke up over it because I was like, I don't know why. I don't know why it'd make me play this. Anyway, but eventually I did get into it, and I got into the lore a lot, and I was like reading lore threads and forums and watching videos, and but I felt like something's missing. Like I love the lore and the theories everybody's presenting, but like I'm looking for something else. That's not it. And because I was watching like literally every lore, like every day, just refresh, YouTube, give me more lore, I stumbled on Richie. I'm sorry, JSF.
Yes.
And back when like you weren't even popular.
No.
Like
I'm still not popular.
Oh, you. No, back when you had like -7 subs, you know, like I was like, oh, this is really good. I'm surprised this person doesn't have more. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, I don't understand YouTube, that's fine. And and then eventually your videos kind of inspired me to make my channel because I was like, this is really cool. This is like I get it, but also the way you explained it is resonated with me, and I think a lot of people, because like I work in research, and you explained it like a lit review or something you'd read in a scientific magazine, whatever. Like,
well, should we explain that we both work in universities?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sin is a research assistant. I am not at the moment, but I was a doctoral researcher at the time. Yeah.
And then okay, so then like I really loved all your videos. Everything's awesome, and the first time I contacted you was to ask permission to use something from one of your videos on one of my videos. Like, and you were like, yes, you can use anything. I'm not possessive about my work.
Yeah, that's how I sound.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
But like, you use a nice voice for before I joined you. You're like, Richard, I'm very helpful. Thank you. You may use whatever you wish. And then after we become friends, it's big bully.
Okay, and then a few months later, okay, because I knew every one of JSF's videos, and I was going to make a video about the runes. And one of the things I wanted to include in the video was, like, you found the astral clock and you wrote it out. Like, I think you were the first one to actually write out everything and make it.
as far as I'm aware, I was the first person to upload a diagram of the
Yeah,
astral clock. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
What room
and
was where? Yeah.
yeah, and so I was like, oh, I know, GSF said I could use whatever, but I feel like I should ask again because, like, I don't know, I don't want to like impose or whatever. And so I messaged you on YouTube, and you never replied because you were off YouTube by that point.
Yeah, I quit at that point.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, well, oh, and also I messaged you to ask where the diagram is because I couldn't find it on the channel. Like somehow, even though it was right there, I was like, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
it was there, and it was also you made an amendment or something, and it's just like,
yeah,
but I was like, I don't see it. Am I crazy? And then I went to Google. I'm like, diagram, Bloodborne, and the Reddit post popped up,
yeah.
and it's the diagram I was looking for, but it wasn't made by GSF. I made a mistake. It was actually made by someone named Richard Peelbeam. And I was like, okay, my bad. I guess I should message Richard
Yeah.
Peelbeam and ask them, like,
Yeah.
could I use this? Because clearly I'm just crazy. And so I
Yeah.
messaged Richard Peelbeam, and I was like, oh, hello. Like, you don't know me. I'm just like, could I use your diagram for a video? And this random person replied, yes, of course. I'm not possessive about my work. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
interesting. I guess the Bloodborne community is very like cooperative. That's really cool. And then I was on a random Discord chat and was talking about like I forget what, like the phantasm, whatever, and somebody brought up the clock, and I'm like, oh yes, Richard Peelby made this really cool diagram, and people were like, yeah, JSF is really good at that, and I'm like, no, give credit where credit is due. It wasn't made by JSF. It was made by a person named Richard Peelbeam, and they were like,
So it's a fly bothering you.
and I was like, and they were like, yes, JSF, and I'm like, no, Richard Peelbeam. They're like, yes, JSF. I'm like, no, Richard Peelbeam. They're like, oh my god. They were like, JSF is Richard Peelbeam, dum dum, and I'm like, huh. And then after that, I went back to Reddit. I was like, hey, are you JSF? And you were like, yes, dot. And I'm like, oh my
No,
god.
excuse me.
I'm
For someone
sorry,
who's like, you're getting details
Yeah, go
wrong.
ahead,
It
go
was
ahead.
not yes dot because you sent me a screenshot of that conversation. It's yeah dot, which sounds a lot less confrontational.
Oh, I apologize. Did I send you a screenshot of that conversation?
Yes.
Oh, I don't even remember. Okay. All right. So yeah, and then Richie answered yes, yeah, dot. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, dot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's so cool. Could I ask you a couple of questions? Because like there are theories I need like clearing up, and I don't know. I think you're the best one to explain them. At this point, Richie was a little wary, but he replied.
Yeah.
And then I asked more questions, and Richie replied again. And I asked
Yeah,
more
yeah.
questions. And then eventually Richie was like, oh, like, I see you have a channel. That's really cool. And then he saw my, like, Garden of Ice videos, and Richie was just like, I'm in love. This is the best
Pretty
video
much, yeah.
I've seen in my life.
It was.
Work of art.
Your complete lack of reverence for the source material was the reason I resonated with you.
Yes.
Because everyone else was like, let us discuss this dark and grim eldritch tale. And you're like,
And I'll post the video in chat for people who are new and may not be aware of what this channel was like before Richie joined. And it kind of transformed back into this after Richie and I know each
we
other.
went around in a loop. And basically, like, you...
That's not all.
You asked...
No.
Okay.
That is not the end of that. Like I said, this is a long story, and this is like the short version. And then, so this is the Garden of Ice videos we're talking about.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh my god, I can't believe like Richard Pilgrim, aka GSF, is like giving me the time of day to explain these theories. But I was so happy because like now I can sleep at night. I understand Bloodborne more. And then you were like, oh, I also see you have a Discord server. And you were like, I'll join. And I was like, oh no, we're not a legit gaming community. Everything's like super chill, and just like we just decided one day to be a princess kingdom, a princessdom. So everyone like started changing their name to like Princess Sin, Princess this, Princess that, Princess Aline. And I'm like, oh my god, here comes GSF joining my Discord, and be like, these people are not serious, or like they're dum-dums. And I'm leaving forever and blocking you all. So here comes Richard Peelbeam, joins the server, and the next day, your name is Princess Richard. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he's one of us. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, this is the part that I feel like one of us made a suggestion. Last time we talked, you said you made it, but then I say I made it. That, like, I was like, or you were like, we should do like a little collab.
I can tell you
or
what it
something.
was.
Yeah, tell me.
You kept asking me questions because you wanted to make a video that was just you talking, but with like me vetting what you were saying.
Okay.
And I said, we could just talk. Like, you could just record that. It's probably quicker.
And I was like,
Because
yes,
you used to
that's
do this thing
right.
called Epiphanies with.
Yes.
Where you would talk to someone and then you would make like a video about
Like,
here's
they
like what I
said,
learned
blah,
when I
blah,
talked to
blah.
this one with like Ashen Hollow. Like I talked to Ashen Hollow and here's some things we discussed.
Mhm.
And you did one with me and then you're like, can we do some more? And I said like you could just talk, you could just record that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, I can't believe Richard Pilgrim is like, oh, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah, and that's how it
See
started.
that now it's transitioned into
And it was supposed to be like a one-time thing about the Queen of Lothar. And then you were like, yeah, we can do another one, and then we did Mensis. By the way, Mensis, I archived on Patreon, because, like, when we just started this, like, the quality of our audio, we didn't actually, I didn't expect anyone to really listen to it, just, like, the 4 viewers that were here. But, like, there's certain things about older videos, like the audio quality, the editing quality, the whatever quality is not up to par anymore.
Yeah.
So what I do is I archive the old video on Patreon, and then we make, like, a little remake. So I archived the old Mensis video, but it doesn't even matter because all the information is in other videos already, in the other 55 Mensis videos. But we're actually gonna do a remake of this one later. But anyway, yeah. So that's how it started. Eventually, when I realized, like, okay, Richie's cool with doing like these podcasts and answering questions, but we may only have them for a limited time. I was like, do you mind if we do like a bulk? Like on a weekend, and this way, like, we have all the answers and people who are interested can see them. And you're like, yeah, of course. And then eventually, like, okay, one more weekend? Yeah, you're like, yeah, for sure. And then one more weekend? Yeah, for sure. And then it's just like a year later and like 2 years later, just like, could it turn into this?
You're missing Hooters Road Trip. That was an important turning point.
Yeah. Please, Richie, tell us about Hooters Road Trip.
We were recording about the gargoyles. And you said something completely bizarre about the gargoyles and we started laughing. And then there was like a pause and I started talking about how there's a PS1. I don't know how we got there, but like there's a PS1 Hooters game where you just drive a very like slow and uninteresting car across some roads, and then you see like FMV of a Hooters waitress telling you did a good job. And we were talking about that, and then that somehow caused the recording to crash. And we just started again. And we were in such a state at that point that we were just like laughing the whole time. Yeah. And that's sort of the beginning of how it ended up like it is.
And that's like 3 months into us recording together.
I always think of like the ones where it's like really formal, where you're like, oh my god, Richard is here. And the ones where you're just calling like, listen, bitch, I fucking own you. I always think of those as like a year apart. They're actually like 3 months apart. It's very rapid.
Yeah. And I posted the gargoyles in chat in case anybody's interested. Yes, Bob Wiz is right. Those are the classics. Basically, everything pre-Snack Covenant are the classics.
Yeah, you called it Snack Covenant because that was like, okay, we actually, like, this is a proper thing now. It's not.
Yeah, it was... like, it's...
Because prior to that, it was just called the Blank Podcast.
It was just, like, random things, no episode numbers, because we didn't think it would, like, last this long.
Yeah.
And you...
Yeah, and I didn't think I would come back to YouTube.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I thought I was done and I was going to move on.
Oh, poor Richie.
That's good. It's worked out well.
Oh. And like, yeah, because you were like, the where Snack Covenant comes from is that somehow we were talking about something. You were like, oh, Sin, if you were a boss, you'd just be there being like, bring me snacks. And
Yeah.
only if people brought you snacks, you'd like let them pass. And then it was like, that's a covenant. And you were like, yeah. And then we just like, yo, that's a Snack Covenant. Yeah. How funny.
No, it was the beginning of the thing that happens where I suggest something sarcastically, and you're like,
Yes, exactly.
"It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I commission Ike now."
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's also the backstory of the Bruitus, the little slug, Nostradamus the vampire.
Nostradamus the vampire. I'm
The,
I'm a little sad Nostradamus the vampire hasn't been getting the exposure he deserves because he's really
he
funny.
has one joke. They all have one joke, but his one joke is so specific. Anyway, we need to get back to discussing
Yes.
Bloodborne.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks,
Or
everyone.
Reborn.
Yeah. So the next question is from John. John says, in the official artwork book, Yahar'gul is depicted with a snowy or dusty layer on top of everything, and there's a picture, which I will paste to you, Richie, on the Discord.
Oh, hang on, I'll open the original.
I lean toward it being dust, maybe pollen, due to the big flaky particles flowing in through the windows of the Yahar'gul chapel.
Yeah.
And flowing in through the main gate and falling off of the one Reborn. Is this design element a remnant of an older idea of what ritual calamity befell Yahar'gul? Is this ash from a great fire? Did Yahar'gul citizens melt into the environment due to heat? Am I wasting my life making these illustrations?
No, I think saying it's ash from a fire is actually like it may be that.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I can tell you, the thing about Bloodborne is we can talk endlessly about how little things changed, like Gascoigne or Henrik or Mikolash or whatever. But the plot, the structure of the plot, that has essentially, like as far back as like versions I've seen from 2011, been the same. And there was always a Yahar'gul area. It wasn't necessarily called Yahar'gul. It's just called like Sacrifice City sometimes, or Sacrifice Quarter, Sacrifice Street. And it was always like kind of the penultimate location, and you had to go there like when the Red Moon thing happened. So what I do think, like, because one thing that did change was Rom's relationship to the Red Moon. Because I suspect that, like, Rom blocking the moon seems to have been a late thing. Like, not late, but like it wasn't part of the initial draft. And I honestly think that the Red Moon appearing was supposed to appear in Yahar'gul. Like, you'd fight your way to the end of Yahar'gul, and then the moon would come down. But as it is now, you come there after the moon's already come down. And the idea of a big fire actually makes sense. It connects to what we were saying earlier about how like ash and fire were really significant in the early like unused things. Like so many of the unused items and enemies reference like ritual flame and ritual burning that's not in the game anymore. But I do think the idea that like it's to do with ash makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richie. That's a beautiful answer. So now let's take a question from the chat.
Have there been any questions about Reborn the anime yet?
It's coming.
Right.
Shut up.
Oh, hang on. I have one here.
Yeah.
Bloodborne existed in 2011? Question mark. That's from Jake. Yeah, Bloodborne, like the game, as far as we can tell, it started development at the same time as the Dark Souls DLC did, Artorias of the Abyss. And when people are like, ooh, Marvelous Chester, is this a Bloodborne reference? Like, I think it kind of is. I think that's them playing around with, like, the aesthetic. And maybe trying to figure, like, what kind of designs can we do? How do we make cloth physics work? Things like that. That's why Chester looks the way he does. And, yeah, the oldest versions that we have, they're from 2011. And they're a mixture of like a concept art and like mocked up pictures and they have. I've shown it off if you go to like some of the model viewing streams we've done. There's like, it's a very very early, very early like Yharnam layout. It's very very blocky. If you imagine Yharnam rendered on a Nintendo 64, it kind of looks like that. Like everything just like cubes and cylinders to sort of map out roughly how the city works. But like we also have from that period, we've got like a rough sort of outline of how they wanted the story to go, and we have some like documentation and things that will like sort of from the early development. So yeah, like Bloodborne, the early development, as far as we can tell, started in 2011, and it was in development for 4 years, and it came out in 2015.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richie. So for people who are into Reborn, I'll actually post a playlist in chat called The Policy. Oh, hi, Corvo. Oh, does anybody want to see my baby? Oh, look at my baby. He's so cute. He's the cutest in the world. But oh, there's another baby. Oh, 2 babies.
She's very unhappy.
Oh, no.
She's like, just put me down. I will not stand for this indignity.
But basically, what you'll notice is there are episode-by-episode Reborn analysis is not in that playlist, and that's because I'm making a final re-edit for it, because I had a vision, and it must be true, and it should be done by March, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's do a question from Patreon.
Oh, hey, Red Drift is here. Hello, Rosalind.
Hi everyone, by the way. Hello. Okay, the next question is by Doom Kitty, who says, "What the F? Is that a duck?" Doom Kitty is a bully. Does anybody remember this reference?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll post it in chat. Clearly Doom Kitty is Team Richie. I didn't know.
So, how many of these questions are about Reborn the anime?
It's coming! Okay, so what the F is that a duck is this link. You can bookmark it and watch it afterwards. Okay. So now let's take another question from chat. Corvo, people are saying hi to you. Oh. Let me scroll. I don't want to scroll. Somebody post a question. Somebody post a question?
Someone wants to know if you've read the Reborn manga.
No, I haven't. I should, though.
Okay, that was from Solitas, and then Payday76 says that they have the Reborn manga on Kindle.
I want to get physical Reborn manga, but it's expensive.
Vasil wants to know, do you prefer 0 Point Breakthrough First Edition or Revisited?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I assumed that was about Reborn because I didn't understand it.
Yeah, I guess so. I only watched the anime so far.
Well, how can you call yourself a true fan?
Because I love it with my soul.
This is like, I guess like you're a true Fallout fan, you won't play anything before...
Fallout 3, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Critical Rants has a question. Hi, Critical, welcome. What was the nature of the hunt, of the previous hunters of the Hunter's Dream? Did characters like Jura and Eileen have the same goals as the player character?
Sin, what do you think?
Oh, well, I don't think so. I mean, we've talked in the past how we think that Lawrence created the Hunter's Dream. Lawrence contacted the Moon Presence to create the Hunter's Dream so that he could create these immortal hunters because the beast problems gotten a little out of hand. Oh, who did that mean? Oh. And so I think the idea was just to create a bunch of immortal hunters and to take care of the beast problem. But I think along the way, I guess you're messing with the Eldritch truth. So things are gonna happen. And
but like...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because like Jura, we kind of know what Jura's was because Jura had to go and cleanse old Yharnam.
Yeah.
So, as far as we know, Jura didn't have any contact with like the Moon Presence or anything.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, he went there, and like Eileen, Eileen's was something to do with whoever the Bloody Crow is, and we don't know. Like the Bloody Crow might have been like
Yeah,
She may have
yeah,
been to Kanehurst, she may not have been to Kanehurst. He might have been like her partner or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something to do with him. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like the the goal of the hunt is it's like they say it. It's like just try to like kill some beasts and don't think about it. Because it's just like a mop up operation. It's like just preventing the beasts from spreading too far.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this like when we talked about the Hunter's Dream in Up Close too. But like that's what it is. And like our hunt with the red moon and the moon presence and everything, that's unique. Like we happen to arrive on like the night it gets really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like presumably like Alfred might have gone through it.
Um,
Because he
Alfred has not gone through anything. Alfred just went outside, bought an executioner uniform, was like, oh, I'm an executioner. Yeah, I know. I've been through hunting. I've been through executioner. Everything. I know Lawrence. I know Gary. I know everyone. No, Alfred. No. What makes you think Alfred could have been through the Hunter's Dream?
the confusing thing is the doll says like you will forget the dream. Right. This will be a memory to you.
Yeah.
And Eileen is like, well, she remembers the doll. She's like, you tell the doll I said hello.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember some of it, but then the doll's like, one day this will just be a very distant memory to you.
No.
So it's possible that like Alfred might have done it because when you talk to him, he says, "Oh, a hunter of beasts. That's how I started." And it's not clear what that exactly means, but it might mean that he went to the dream.
I see. What
Like he
you're
was
saying,
like
yeah.
us, yeah.
I see.
Because he just was like,
Oh,
hunter
look,
of beasts
Corvo.
could apply to a lot of people,
What's wrong?
but yeah.
Sorry, Corvo does this thing. He's sitting on my lap, and now he's like, "Don't pet me anymore." And I'm like, "Okay, you can get down if you want, or you can stay here. Whatever you want, my love." I don't know what it wants. You wanna get down? Yes, go ahead. Okay.
Okay, I have a Reborn question for you.
Yes.
From Rosalind.
Yes.
And it is, which Bloodborne character would be the biggest Reborn fan? Only you can answer this, Sin.
The moon presence.
Because of the babies.
She'd be like, so many babies! I love it!
That'd be Lawrence.
Alright, Lawrence and the moon presence would watch it together and do an episode by episode analysis of it.
Do you think this is Lawrence's punishment? This is the Richie's nightmare.
The Richie's nightmare, yes.
Where I'm like Yamamura and I'm just well, you're there going, he's so cute, look at the baby, look at him. It's like,
I just had a vision, Richie.
Yes.
So, you know how, like, the hunter comes in and out of the dream unannounced, right? So one day the hunter, like, comes back into the dream and everybody's, like, in that little house, moon presence, the doll, Gurman, and they're watching TV and it's Reborn and the hunter's like, what's happening? And the moon presence like, I'm scary eldritch, but it turns out, like, the moon presence just trapped everyone there, so they watch Reborn with her. It's very sweet.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to Patron.
Jake wants to know what my cat's name is. This is Ingrid. She's not technically my cat. She's actually the neighbor's cat. And they have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and Ingrid does not get on with them at all. So she just hangs around here all day.
Aww.
Yeah, she won't go back. This has been going on for a very long time.
Aww.
Like I would take her back there and be like, hey, your cat like keeps coming in through my window and she won't leave, and she just goes and then just like struggling, and I'd let her go and she just bolt back over here, and eventually they were like, Ingrid's weird.
Oh, no.
So if you want to look after her, that's fine.
Oh my god, wow.
She's kind of been my cat since then, even though I don't
Aw.
technically own her. Yeah.
Very cute.
Yes.
So Richie, the next question is from beautiful Baron Tutu.
Ooh.
They're asking, how do you think the characters of Reborn would react to the one Reborn?
Well, you're the expert.
Okay, it would be like Tsuna like enters the arena because he's trying to, I don't know, impress Kyoko, and Haru is there too, and so is Yamamoto.
What's Haru dressed as?
Um, as a bagman, but like really
Okay,
cute.
okay,
And
yeah.
Yamamoto's there,
No,
and then
I think Haru would dress as a hearse.
as a what?
That's more in character, but like a hearse. She'd
What
actually
the-
dress as a carriage.
Oh,
Or just like a carriage with her
Yes!
arms and legs sticking out the side.
You're right. Yeah, so
That's-
she's dressed as a
yeah.
carriage, and then Yamamoto's there like, ha ha ha, this is a fun game, and then Kokodero's like, Tuna, like, I left Tuna, nobody talked to him. And then Bianchi shows up and it's like poison cookie, and then Kokodero's like, oh no, my stomach, and then he like falls over, and then Lumbo runs in and starts throwing grenades, and this is the grenades activate the One Reborn ritual, and then the One Reborn like falls down, and then Tsuna's like, oh no, I must protect Kyoko, and then Reborn's like, Tsuna, like fight Reborn with your dying will, and then fight the Reborn. Oh my god, I got confused there. Reborn, One Reborn. Yeah, anyway, whatever. Reborn shoots Tsuna.
That's the joke.
The bullet hits Tsuna, and then Tsuna transforms into. He hits Tsuna with the iron stomach bullet, which is an actual bullet from Reborn, and then
We've got to keep this canonical.
Yes, and then Tsuna eats the One Reborn, and that's the end. And Tsuna saves the day.
Would you defeat the One Reborn by eating it?
Yes, if Reborn hits you with the iron stomach bullet.
I was expecting you to get them to like work together, like when they went to the Mafia Challenge. That's like a high school athletics tournament.
Yeah, my
Determines
interpretation.
what mafia family. That's how they do it.
My interpretation is a little darker.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of Reborn fans have grown up and they want something that's darker.
Yeah. If you would save Fallout or Reborn, which franchise would you save from total annihilation?
Sin.
Oh, I don't know. It's like I can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, Reborn's pretty much dead already. Like, there's no official merchandise. Nothing's in the reboot. Like, unfortunately. Do you know how hard it is to find official Reborn merchandise? I saw.
Yeah, because I've looked for it for you for Christmas and I couldn't find
Oh,
one.
that's so sweet. But like, I've looked for this mug. I found a picture of this really cute mug that had like chibi characters on it, and it's like orange mug. I could not find it anywhere. You know what I had to do? I had to contact Onsite 7, and I had to be like, can you make something like this for me, please? And I'll put it on a mug for myself because I need this on a mug.
Yeah.
And he did. He's amazing. Yeah. He did such a good job. I still have to put it on a mug because I have like so many mugs. They don't fit into my cupboard, so I need to like get rid of some.
I have that problem too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John is asking, hey Richie, if there was one Bloodborne weapon you would want to learn to use in real life, what would it be?
Oh, maybe the whirligig saw, because that seems like it has a lot of practical uses as well.
Like what?
You could trim like foliage with it because it spins around really fast. You could probably like. You could use it as an actual pizza cutter if you wanted.
Like on a jazz pizza?
Well, because I bought a little hand cranked like vegetable dicer the other day. You have to like go like that to make the vegetables dice. And I feel like the whirligig saw, if they could just like, I mean, you'd have to make sure it was secured. You could rest at it and just like throw onions at it, and they just come back to you diced.
I think I'd like to learn how to use the boom hammer because it has
Yeah.
like fire elements and it probably gets hot. So you could
Mhm.
also probably use it to cook.
Oh, yeah.
Like you know how you can just like boom 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 on like meat or
Mm,
whatever, but if you
yeah.
do it with the boom hammer, you're cooking at the same time. It's probably delicious. Okay, beautiful Baronet had another question. What is the one reborn exactly? I can see how it fits in terms of themes and imagery, but I never got a clear idea of where it stands in terms of world building.
I think we did that like at the start when I did
Okay.
my big When Reborn explanation.
Has since started reading Akira Amano's new manga series.
Have you?
Ron Kamonohashi, Deranged Detective. No, I haven't yet. Sorry, I
I feel like
apologize.
deranged detective is something that would appeal to you.
Yeah, no, I know this. I wanted to, and then it's just I completely forgot. But yes, I'm
Autumnal
going
Void
to.
points out accurately that you should not be allowed to use a boom hammer.
Are we
I
gonna
mean,
have a problem, Autumnal Void?
I think your boyfriend would need to like intervene.
No, I think. Oh, did I tell you about the time I used the slicer? Because my boyfriend got like a slicer that like like with the thing and it goes boom and you like that's how you slice it. You know what I mean? Like a little one, not a big one. And so my sister was that was I think before the pandemic got really bad. When we were allowed to have people over, my sister was like, "Hey, you guys have bacon?" And I was like, "Yeah, but we gotta slice it." And she's like, "You got a slicer?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, you should slice it." I'm like, "Yeah, but I never used it. I don't know how. My boyfriend uses it." And my boyfriend was busy, and I'm like, "Boyfriend, slice us some bacon." And he's like, "In a minute. Like, I just got it." I'm like, "No, now." And he's like, "Oh, in a minute." I'm like, "You know what? I can do it." And boyfriend was like, "No, don't do it." I'm like, "Yeah, I can. I've seen you do it. I can do it." And he's like, "If you do it, I'm not taking you to the hospital." But then my
This
sister
time,
was like, "Don't worry, don't worry. I got a car. I'll take you." And so we cut the slicer out and I used it and I used it
yeah.
good. And there was, yeah.
Oh, thank God.
um,
Good,
and the
good.
last question by Beautiful Baronetitu. Do you
Hmm.
think the Snatchers disappear because they are killed during the ritual, or do they simply not need to do anything anymore, so they just leave in peace?
Oh no, they die. Like their corpses are there.
Yeah, but is it because of the ritual, or is
Yeah,
it...
because the things in the sack come to life and kill them.
Oh! So it's not like a in terms of like, okay, now you have to kill me for this ritual to work. It's more like a
No,
accidental byproduct. It's like
yeah,
karma.
all the dead people in the bag came to life and killed them.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I in my head I was like, okay, that's just part of their ritual. Like, okay, kill me now. Must take my soul to resurrect the one
You're
reborn.
aware, you're aware that you're on camera.
Oh.
Take me.
Since sister's very dedicated to bacon. Hmm.
I like the extra dimension we get from you when you do your stupid voices that they have an accompanying stupid face.
Thank you.
Can I be you from the last one?
Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
If you want to check that my impression is accurate, it is 1 hour 20 minutes and 34 seconds into the previous
Wait,
episode. It's this.
wait. First, Richie, because okay, another thing that happens with these is because I don't want to clutter the channel with friggin' this. So we keep it up for a week, and then it's archived on Patreon. But if you like want to watch it again for some reason, like message
Yeah,
me, I'll send you the link or bookmark the link. I don't know why you want to.
yeah.
Even I'm like, I don't know why
They
you
just
want
get
to.
unlisted. They don't
Yeah.
actually go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So it
no. Wait. I have to, cause I'll forget. I'll forget. So this is the link to the previous one. 1 second. Pressure. Okay, that's the link to the previous one. Okay, go, Richie.
it's this. This is you explaining how you learned to make avocado sushi. It's this. Perfect. Can we have avocados, please?
pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It was
That's
so
just how you that's you explaining sushi.
Yeah, it was Richie a couple of days ago. Richie sent me a file, an audio file titled "What," and I clicked it, and it was just like I couldn't understand. I was like, "Is that me or is that like someone else who's speaking a strange language that sounds like me?" But that was, and then Richie sent me a video like accompanying it, and that was it. And it was
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea what I'm saying.
I have a Sin ringtone.
Oh my god!
I'll play it. This is my ring. It's also my alarm when I have to wake up.
Thank you, Richie.
That's how you know we're besties.
I wouldn't go that far. They're looking and acting more similar these days. Lol, yes, Havel.
You know the best part is, like, if you see us before we start recording, we actually do look like kind of the same. And then we get dressed up for our podcast appearances.
Yeah, we dress.
Which involves me fancying myself up and Sin looking like she's in witness protection.
Today I'm wearing the drip of my people.
Yeah, Adidas, yeah.
Oh, nice.
True slab.
Yeah, my sister gave this to me.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what
I'm wearing an Embruitus shirt.
Oh my god, cute! Product placement! Richie, if people want to buy our merchandise that we don't make much money off of at all, but it's really, really fun to have it. What should they do?
Is it redbubble.com/SinclairLaw or is it sinclairlaw.redbubble.com?
I don't know. It's okay. Wait. It's redbubble.com/people/SinclairLaw. I'll just post the link.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Autumnal Void ordered that shirt 2 days ago.
Oh, that's who it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, oh, damn, cool.
Oh, yeah, you did. You said, I don't know, somebody ordered, I don't know why. I don't know why they wanted it.
Thank you, Autumnal. And if anybody ever knows, like, if you have a cheap place to do things, like next to your house or whatever, you really send me a message. I can send you images so that you spend less money.
I'm largely entirely dressed by Redbubble these days. I don't know if people can see, but that purple thing there, that's a tote bag with one of my friend's art on it of like a Shoggoth sort of thing with all these like eyes and teeth sticking out.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, King points out don't make much money off of it, but I got my mug last week. Yeah, the thing is, it like everything adds up. We make like a little here, a little there, and in the end, like we can get better microphones, we can get better cameras, we can get we pay for Zencaster, pay for the podcasts, pay for equipment, pay for like everything. So it all just adds up. So thank you very much.
Okay, question from Last Sigil.
What?
This is a question about the restored Great One Beast, right?
But wait, before we go, I have to say... These were all the questions from Patreon.
You look like the mask that Drill wears in Truth Point. Continue.
Thank you, Richie. So these were all the questions from Patreon. I think if I missed any, I don't think I did, but if I did, post them for next week's AMA, and then we'll answer them then. So thanks to the patrons, and if you're interested, blah blah blah. Here's a link. Go, Richie.
Okay, so the question was about the basis of the Great One Beast, which was. People might be familiar with it. It's the like four-legged, it's like looks like a big wolf thing, and they're wondering if that's like got Lovecraftian roots. And what I said I said this at the time, and I was cruelly hounded for it. But history has vindicated me.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, that Great One Beast looks a lot like a dragon. it doesn't look like a wolf.
Uh-huh.
And that went as far as like, look at it, like it doesn't have wolf paws. It has claws like a dragon. Has the multiple rows of teeth like the dragons in Demon Souls.
Mm.
And then it turned out that the fur was a separate mesh,
Mm-hmm.
which is true of a lot of things. But like it was coded so the fur could actually come off, and underneath it did have like a dragon body. So I honestly think like hello, Sen. You look like a shadow man.
Awesome. So you honestly think that?
Yeah. Like,
I know. Continue. You honestly think that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I honestly think that it was back when this was Demon Souls 2, which it was. Another thing I said, and they would, but no, it was, and we have the documents that prove it.
We have the receipts.
Damn right, we got the receipts. Back when it was Demon Souls 2, I think it was supposed to be like this. This is what happened to the dragons. They actually turned into like some sort of beast thing. Oh, that Vasil says that someone stole his Richie and Sin as Artorias and Sif thing.
Oh my god, that was. I don't think we have it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think we
It's
ever
like,
sold it.
You have created the Reborn mug situation. You're on the other. How do you feel now that you're the one who's cruelly denying someone a mug?
No, but the Reborn situation is that I want to buy it. It's just not available anywhere. I looked for like 2 hours. I was like, I will pay like any amount of money for this mug, and it was just not available anywhere. So that's why I had to go to this thing. And I told Onse, it's like, it's for me. I'm not gonna sell it. It's not to. It's just like me and anybody. Like I would give it to like friends. Like my sister's been watching Reborn. Maybe I'll make her one. But thanks. You can send us a link, I guess, Vasil. I don't know.
Okay.
Because it's. I think.
I should point out. I forgot to mention
yeah.
this, but I deliberately got this one because it's like Izzy, which is like irreverent Izzy.
Irreverent Izzy.
God, last year I found an Amelia one.
That's amazing. Should have collected them.
I kind of did. I have some. I have some with significant names on them, but the Amelia one I think's in the trash. So this is a follow-up. I remember this question from last time about why the minister.
Can you answer questions from chat, and I'm just gonna refill my coffee and stuff.
This is what I'm doing.
I'm just telling you that I'm going to refill my coffee. Could you please keep answering?
Okay.
I'm just being polite. I don't need your attitude. Also, somebody asked what this is. It's dog meat. Also, while I'm gone, you can explain dog meat. Thank you.
Okay.
Be right back.
Okay. So the question in the chat is basically like the Blood Minister in Bloodborne seems to kind of know what's going on with you. With like the hunters in the dream and stuff before anything like happens. In a way, he says like, you may think it all be a bad dream, as if he knows what's going to happen, which he kind of doesn't. And the answer there, honestly, the answer is that character was supposed to be more significant early on. If you leave the game running and you see like the FMV scene, he's in that, and he's actually going around the streets of Yharnam in his wheelchair, and that's because he was supposed to do that. He was supposed to be like an introductory NPC, similar to like it's pretty much just Gilbert now. But he was supposed to kind of be there and be like, there are many secrets, blah 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 blah. And he has this removed dialogue where he actually talks about like Ibriatus, who at that point was the Moon Presence. But he talks about like, he talks about, I think he mentions the cosmos at one point, and he talks about like the Lake of Mud. It's similar to Mikolash. And that got as far as like that's in there. That dialogue is in there. If you look at the map view, I think we showed this off when we did the map viewer. But if you look at the map viewer, like he is still there. He's in the clinic. And he was basically going to fill you in on like how the healing church worked. So that's, I think, why. Because I think he's supposed to be more clued up than he seems. But they cut him back and cut him back and cut him back until he's just in the intro and then gone. He has dialogue that's literally like, I can't remember it word for word, but he basically confirms that you came to Yarnum because you're from somewhere that has the plague, and you're trying to find a cure for it. So you've come looking for a cure. Weirdly, along with the pale bloodline, so I think maybe they couldn't. This is, I think they maybe had the two different ideas. Like, are you looking for a cure, or are you looking for pale blood? And they were sort of tossing them up, and they recorded both. Okay, so here we go. The Grand Lake of Mud question, which recurs forever and ever and ever. Okay, so here's the confusing part. Mikolash's line. I'll take my headphones off because it's annoying and it's annoying to hear synth. So Mikolash has a line, which we all, I think, know at this point. God, I do look ridiculous. It's hairs. I got out of the shower like 5 minutes before we started recording, so I'm all fuzzy. Mikolash has that line where he's like, the Grand Lake of Mud, hidden now from sight. And it's like, what is the Lake of Mud? And there's all these theories about like, oh, well, around Bergenworth, it's very muddy, and there is a lake. Does he mean that? Because Moonside Lake is a lake. There's a lake outside Canehurst. Where is the lake? Where is the Lake of Mud? And that got a little bit more confusing because the unused Moon Presence boss arena that looks exactly like the place from Demon Souls, that got colloquially referred to as the Lake of Mud, and it's stuck because it doesn't have an official name. So people started assuming a Lake of Mud, that must be an actual place, and I guess the old one boss arena place is the Lake of Mud.
Richie, did you move my chair?
Yes, with my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what the Grand Lake of Mud is, it is just a weirdly translated line. And that line is actually in there translated literally, and they don't use it. So the literal translation they went with is like, it's like Mikolash, when you have to mention when he's ranting, he says like, the Great Lake is clouded by grime, the cosmos, meaning the Great Lake, sky, cosmos are one. The cosmos is there. I'm reaching out to the cosmos, but there is this grime, this like mud that I can't get through. And it's tying into his whole spiel about like, we have beastly idiocy, our eyes haven't opened yet. And he's relating that, he's like describing that metaphorically as like, I am trying to reach into this beautiful lake, this huge grand lake, and I'm trying to reach into it, but in between me and the lake there is mud. So like the mud is like the limitations of humans and human idiocy and things, and he can't get through it. And they translate that, they sort of flip it around. So instead of it being like the lake, it's basically the lake is hidden from sight by the mud. It becomes the lake of mud is hidden from sight. So that's where he's not actually referring to a literal lake of mud. He's making this metaphorical thing about like enlightenment as water that has mud in it that you have to sort of like crawl through, basically. And the reason I think this was brought up is that the Blood Minister, one of his cut lines that he doesn't say anymore, is he says, this is like one of the last things he says to you. He says like, the mud will take us all upon the awakening of Ebrietas. I think meaning that like we're not enlightened enough, so when Ebrietas awakes, which he means the red moon, it's confusing. But the notion of like Ebrietas will awake, the moon will descend, and because we're all ignorant, we're all in the mud, and that's what will be our end. But it's got fuck all to do with the old one boss arena thing. That's just a name people have for it. Sin, do you have any?
Thank you, Richie. Agreed.
There. You can be Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Baba Yoda.
Are there any other questions?
Are there any other questions? Dan says, you remind me of Ozzy Osbourne. You or me? You,
Thank
I
you.
guess. No, me. No, you.
No,
Just-
I think they mean me.
I forget which one's Ozzy Osbourne.
The one who kind of looks like me.
Does he wear dark glasses?
Yeah, yeah.
So it could be both of us. Like if you put us together, we are Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay, besides JoJo and Reborn, are we watching more anime?
Well, we need to do okay, we want to do about 17 million things. The problem is just like real life, real work, real family.
It's real life. It's a combination of real life gets in the way and we're on opposite sides of the planet.
Opposite sides of the planet has not stopped us yet, Richie.
No, but I mean, like, if we were in the same, like, if I lived in Canada,
if we were roommates,
or you lived here, if we were roommates, we wouldn't need to worry about like, oh, are you free like this day? Like, no, because that's the day I'm doing this other thing, and like, because like it's like it's 2 a.m. for me. It's like 10 a.m. for you. Yeah, but also it's like.
So basically, we have to like balance it out. And...
Yeah, like we don't really overlap much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, another one we want to do is Utena and Kayan
Yeah.
and Michaela are both very like fond of it.
Yeah.
So we'd have them on for that.
Yeah.
There's like my boyfriend showed me, because he's a nerd, he showed me a lot of really really good anime, and I'd love to talk about those, but again, it's just time.
We have a request to do Berserk.
Maybe. Like, Berserk is, like, depressing, sad, and dark. It's not my first go-to, like,
You'd rather MD Geist.
Oh my god, yes! So... Oh, sorry, Baby Yoda. Basically, we're gonna do... Around, I guess, May, we're gonna record MD Geist 2.
They're the long-awaited.
Yeah. Yeah. I have notes, I'll watch it again. I love MD Geist, and MD Geist 2 is so deep. Like, it really is. Like, the more you watch it, the more you understand it.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think you haven't watched it enough times, Richie, to appreciate it.
Rosalind's requested Gazi's wing.
What is that?
Well, I have Gazi's wing in my shelf. So it's possible.
Okay.
I think you would like Gazi's wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some Gazi's wing immediately.
Look at that! Bob is a true cultist. The triumphant return of it can't be helped.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I feel like Gazi's wing is something that you would have the MD Geist relationship with. No, it's so deep. It's so good. I remember when we watched MD Geist, like, linked you this, like, really bad review, and you're like, firstly, sir! And you're getting really pedantic about, like, this is not what happens in this scene. But actually, you're paying attention. And it's this, like, fucking 15-year-old thing that's on archive.org. On a site that's not there anymore, and you're getting genuinely angry. You know, that's how Xenolalia sold someone on the podcast.
Oh my god, that's amazing!
They just said, here's why you should listen to Sin. Sin was born in the Soviet Union, and her favorite anime is MD Geist. Autumnal Void wonders about Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay, like, I know that it's
I think it's
deal, but like, I watched a couple of episodes with my boyfriend, and then afterwards I just completely forgot it existed. Like, it's not like Reborn. Like, I'd come home from work every day and we'd just binge episodes of Reborn, you know?
I think the thing about like Evangelion is it's been done by everyone, so I don't know what we'd add to it. Like, the addition to the JoJo thing is like, I think because we all have weird relationships with it. But like, my relationship with Evangelion is I watched it as a teenager when it came out, and I was depressed, and it validated me. And I think that's a lot of people's relationships. And like, I don't know if if it's gonna matter to you at like 35.
Excuse me.
Paprika, yeah, I've got paprika.
I've seen that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I know that, like, but I like there's certain anime that and like movies and cartoons, whatever, that I watched when I was younger. But because I was so young, like I could not relate to anything. I was like, this is stupid. So
like I couldn't relate to it because I was young and I couldn't really relate to it while clutching a baby Yoda. Hang on, I'll show off because I've got a more flexible webcam now. You won't be able to see it, but like that. The first 3x3 block, actually more than that. It's like the first 3x4 cubes there. That's all anime. Not necessarily anime, but like Japanese stuff, because I've told the story before, but whatever. Like, I used to live near the Chinatown area of Melbourne, which is full of bootleggers. And every day I'd go out and I'd just return with, like, they sold it. It was kind of like buying something by the pound. Because it would be like, you'd go there and it would be like, because clearly they're trying to get the stock moving because it's like clearly illegal. So it's like everything is like 10 for $10, but you can't get less than 10. So I'd just be like, I don't know what any of this shit is, but all right, I'll take 10. And that's how I ended up with all this. There's like about 300, I think, of these films. And it's a mixture of, like, I can see from where I am, I can see like Perfect Blue. I can actually see Neon Genesis Evangelion, but there's also like just like weird random crap. Like there's this like all these weird high concept J dramas. Like there's one about a time traveling janitor called Mop Girl. There was the one I was telling you about that was called like it was about a flight attendant and she's fired because she turns 35 and that's too old to be a flight attendant. But then as she's leaving the airport for the last time, she foils a hijacking, and she becomes a bounty hunter.
That's amazing.
But I know, and she forms this like ridiculous A team sort of thing, but it's just the other single women in her apartment block, and they just like fight crime together. It's great. What else? Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, Ghazi's Wing is there. I think some live action Sailor Moon is here. Yeah. The Dragon Age anime is here for some reason. Anyway. One day I'll make it through these.
Yeah.
But today is not that day.
Or is it?
Well, I mean, it is. There's another like 19 and a half hours to go, so could probably make it through this.
Yeah.
Some of the.
Just watch like 4 animes at the same time on twice the speed, and then.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any more questions?
Let me just move this back. Oh yeah, speaking of things that like the Reborn mug. That snail up there, that cost like $5. But they only did one run of it, and now there's one of those snails left on eBay, and it's like $200.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that like the snail woman art over there. That's by an artist who like she disappeared. She like nuked all her social media.
Oh wow.
So I couldn't get like a high res version of it. So that's actually a thumbnail.
Oh damn.
That she had in a gallery, and then I just like blew it up to 10 times the size and did like a median blur thing on it so it looked a bit smoother. But yeah, I the original is like I don't think you can get it anymore.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And of course this. The skull picture.
Oh yes, we mentioned it in the classics. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a vintage. This looks like an ironic attempt to make fun of the 90s, but it is actually from the 90s. This is like, God, like 25 years old, I think. From a Nintendo magazine, yeah.
Very,
And
very
it survived for
impressive.
25 years, and I thought I got to get this framed to preserve it.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah. What else is here? Color coordination. You don't think I do.
Oh, and you have a picture of us on your wall.
I do. There.
Aw.
That's us.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And some Embruitus and some other stuff. Oh, actually, that yellow thing in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bag from the bootleg place I used to go. And when it shut down, I was like, oh no. What am I getting all those memories gone forever?
Aww.
So I just saved one of the bags.
That's very cute.
Yeah, anyway.
Want to see my pencil case?
Okay, I'll just put this back. Oh, it's a Radaway thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
Want to see my work notebook? Where I write all my work notes?
Certainly. Is it like a Fallout thing? Yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah,
coworker
yeah.
gave it to me for a birthday.
Yeah. Yeah. Sin is Are you still bitter that like I had a Vault-Tec manual and I gave it to someone else?
No. No, it's okay. I have
Yeah.
more Fallout stuff than you can see here because what
Yeah.
happened was, you know
Yeah.
how at some point they had a loot box run with like
Yeah.
4 or 5 loot boxes? I got
Yeah.
them all. But I
Of
have
course
no
you did.
place to put them just yet because we haven't
Okay.
like added shelves in our new place yet and stuff like that. So all my stuff is like in boxes and closets. And
Right.
I need to figure out a way to display them somehow somewhere.
Yeah.
I have too
Yeah.
much Fallout
Yeah.
stuff, but this reminds me, it's time to check. It's time to do our daily Fallout store check because
Mhm.
they have like new stuff every week, and sometimes it gets sold out fast. So I have to check it every day to make sure like if there's something I really want that I get it.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah.
Organize.
See, I have another friend who is also really, really into Fallout.
Yeah.
And I've known her longer than I've known you. So unfortunately, a lot of my Fallout stuff has gone to her.
That's okay. Like for
If I
example,
I would have divided it more equally if I knew
Oh,
you
you're
both
so
at the same
cute.
time.
But Richie, for example, like last week on the Fallout store, they had a new thing, which is Vault Boy Goat Legs vinyl figure and
Mhm.
Tubbs Nuka-Cola Pinup Girl duck figure. So it's a little duck that you put in a bath, and I'm like, I guess I shouldn't spend my money on that. And like a week
Yeah.
later, they're out of stock. Fallout fans are crazy. I cannot. Bought out. And you also gotta pay for shipping with UPS, so everything is like exponentially expensive, and like taxes when they cross the border.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Fallout fans are not okay. I don't
Yeah.
like already like things from like 2 weeks ago out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. One thing that
Yeah.
I got that I'm like so happy. Okay, they have this Nuka-Cola gift wrap that's like $5 a piece. But then they had it on sale for $2.99. But then they had it
And
on
then
sale for $1.
For $1,
I
yeah.
got 10, and there's like
Wow.
a few in each package. And
Yeah,
I don't know what I'll
yeah.
do with them, but I'm very happy I have them because they're out of stock.
Good. Good.
One
Speaking
thing
of rarity,
I was not,
here.
no, Richie, one more thing. So
Okay.
one thing I was not fast enough on is the Red Rocket Knight lithograph. I don't know, like it appeared and was gone. And I'm like, damn
Such a
it.
shame. Yeah.
Pre-order out of stuff. Go on, Richie.
I was talking about like stuff that you can't get anymore.
Yeah.
This is one of the rarest objects that I own, and it's
I
also
want to watch
entirely
it.
worthless.
I saw the trailer. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
What's rare about it is this is actually the DVD, which was made in very, very limited quantities.
Uh-huh.
And this is from Leading Edge Video in Cootamundra.
Uh-huh.
So this is a film that was made partially where I live and partially in an adjacent town, and no one really knows about it or likes it, but I had to have it because of where it was made and what it was, and I have it now.
That's very cool.
Thank you, thank you.
Very, very cool.
I also have another example. This is an extremely obscure old Australian sketch series, and it sank without trace because it's fucking terrible. But I don't know. I just run it all the time, like in the background. Yeah, just watching it. One of there's a recurring joke which is like their A material, and it's that that guy dresses up as a very tall woman called June, and there are no jokes, and he just talks like this throughout the sketch, and that's it. And then the punchline is he goes,
Fuck.
yeah. And this is the climax of June, right? Is that they were clearly convinced, because they made a block of 8 at once. They were clearly convinced that upon the final episode, Australia would have fallen in love with June. They just embraced her. Kids everywhere would be going to each other. So the final sketch in the final episode, it's actually a press credits sketch. That's how much they're hyping it up. It's June shows up in a church as someone's bride, and they pull back the veil as June's and then instead of her doing it, everyone in the church turns to camera and goes, clearly expecting the audience at home to join in. They didn't, because no one watched it.
Oh my god.
But I have it forever.
Alhazred, last week Alhazred sent me a little gift, and it was a fidget cube, and he's asking if it has a place of honor. It's in the kitchen, so that I can pick it up and fidget with it. Yeah, and somebody sent you something too, Richie.
Yeah, I was sent a little plug-and-play arcade board thing. I can't quite reach it, but it's in with my other games. So that just has HDMI out, so we will stream that. That was Dalek, who we've had on before. And he actually said, when you stream it, can I be in chat to talk about the games? So, yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Are there any more questions? For sin, kitchen is definitely the place of honor. Yes, Alhazred.
See, Ingrid's quite old, so Baby Yoda's got about as much articulation as Ingrid. Her joints are not doing great.
Oh.
I think she's got arthritis. That was the difference. So, were there any other questions?
I don't know. I'm just because there's a little lag, so that's why we have to awkwardly wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Awkwardly wait to see if there are any more questions. I might play some more Resident Evil today.
Yeah.
Emlyn is asking, will you ever watch Saint Seiya? How long is it?
Very.
Probably not that.
Well, Saint Seiya is something that, like, it's prevalent enough that I knew what it was without having seen it, because I'm very familiar with what it looks like and everything about it, but I've never actually sat down and watched it.
Yeah, I just
There's he recommended a specific Saint Seiya OVA, I think, called Cursed Canvas, which we might watch at some point, because it's like self-contained.
Oh, okay, cool. Maybe. So the answer is maybe.
Well, yeah, we only have time to watch one very long thing, which happens to be Reborn, and that will carry us well into the 2030s at the rate it's going.
Yeah. Richie, is Hitman
Hi,
Reborn
Sam.
actually good? Is Fake Name is asking. By the way, Fake Name, we answered your question at the very beginning, so you'll see the answer to that in the beginning. Yeah, so
Okay,
Richie, your
so
honest opinion,
yes.
is Hitman Reborn good?
My feeling on Hitman Reborn is that the writer couldn't settle on
No,
what it was
that's
supposed to
not the
be like.
question. We know that. You're
Yes, it
saying
is!
no. What
That's
you
what I'm
say
getting
that,
at!
no, Richie. Oh my God, I can't with Richie. Like this is why we're opposites. When I just go and you like start to write a novel. Simple question. Your subjective opinion is Hitman. Also, I'm interrupting because I'll release a whole giant thing of Hitman Reborn, remember, in March? And you say that about 20 times there. So people get it. People get it. People get it.
Yeah.
People understand.
Yeah. Yes, but
So
what
your
I'm saying...
opinion, is Hitman Reborn good? Yes or no?
It gets good. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
That, like,
well, first you answer
it goes
gets
through
good,
about
and then you
5...
elaborate.
Jesus. Okay. Hitman Reborn gets good eventually, but it goes through, like, just in the first season, like, 3 or 4 completely different approaches and tones, and then it settles into what is basically just a weird farce that I think works well, but that just feels like a filler arc before the next season, so I have no idea. I'm sure the next season is going to be some more arguments about, like, different levels of baby power and stuff like that.
You can't skip any season because Reborn is good because it's funny. Like, every episode is literally funny. Like, that's
Literally funny.
It is really funny. It is very, very funny.
Does
That's
it
why I love
contain nutty shenanigans?
it. Yes. Yeah, Rosaline will record a new season starting May. I still have to finish re-editing this one to re-release it because I had a great idea. But, yeah.
Critics have referred to the lead character's performance as likable.
Thank you, Richie. King is asking, if you could meet one great one from Bloodborne, who would you meet?
Does it Brutus count?
Brutus?
I think we'd have to.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Did you guys play FF7 Remake? Sen.
Okay, well, the thing is, like, when I was younger, I never actually played Final Fantasy, so I don't have this, like, attachment to it, you know? So, my boyfriend does, and he, like, played the remake, and he finished it and all that. And I started playing it, and then I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, you streamed it.
So...
You streamed it, you did up to the end of the first reactor mission. So, like, you beat Scorpion Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have actually not played it, but I have a friend who comes by, like, regularly every week after his Monday shift. And he's been playing it at my place. So I've watched him play through it, and he's currently at the, like, about to finish up with the slums. Like, he's just recruited Tifa, so I've vicariously experienced it. And, yeah. I can see what, because, I mean, as someone who played the original a lot, and, like, no, but, like, I remember I streamed it to you, remember?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't remember because you were hammered, but I did. And
thank you, Richie.
We played it through together. And, I guess for me, it's been a case of adjusting to the fact that, like, it is a full-on reimagining. And as far as I know, it's entirely in Midgar, this episode. So it's sort of adjusting to, like, oh yeah, Midgar's not going to be the first quarter of the game, it's going to be the first half of the game. So they add a bunch of extra stuff to Midgar. Like little, like, we have to go around checking filters and things. And there's, like, a little bit attached to the slums that's, like, a nest for monsters and stuff that they've added to basically give you more to do in Midgar because you're going to be spending more time there. So it's been, like, it's paced very differently. chapter, I remember like finishing the first reactor mission, and going back to the slums. And in the original, it's like finish the reactor mission, go back to the slums, you plan the next mission, then the next day you go out and do the next mission. But in this, is like you go back and you just hang around the slums for ages, just talking to people and doing like fetch quests and stuff. Because like they have to make the slums last longer, so it's just adjusting to it having like, a very, very different pace to the original.
Thank you, Richie.
Okay. Important question. Bloodborne bosses. Kiss, marry, kill. Sin.
Oh god. I don't know. What do you think?
Too much choice. Kiss, beast possessed soul.
Mm-hmm.
Marry. See, if you say Lady Maria, that's too obvious. You gotta be more creative. Marry Rom? Because she seems very dependable.
Yeah.
And kill Mikolash. I didn't even need to think about that.
Oh my god, that's so mean.
Sen, how do you feel?
I feel like, I don't want to get married. Like, I don't want to be tied down. I don't want to be kissing everyone because I already have a boyfriend. I think I'll just murder all the bosses.
Say your boyfriend's not in the picture.
What?
Say it's just differently kiss hello.
Kiss hello?
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, there's a worldwide pandemic happening.
Yeah, well, think about Yarnum. Like, that doesn't bother them.
Oh my god, maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know about you guys, but I guess Russians, Europeans, whatever, like when you say hello to someone, you always like kiss them, But now, pandemic started, like you're never gonna do that again in your life. It's interesting. Probably never gonna shake hands with anyone again. Or hugs, no hugs.
Well, I mean, we're doing all right.
Yeah, true. Parley is asking, what is Rich's opinion on the theory that everything happening in Bloodborne is a dream?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, people said it to Miyazaki in an interview. They said, what is the theory that could Bloodborne all be a dream? And he's like, haha, that's one interpretation. Like, I think it's pretty clearly not. There's pretty clearly, like, a divide that they make a point of. But what's interesting is that was actually in earlier versions. The notion of everything being a dream is played up a lot more, because the way it works in this is like, I've brought it up before, but there's another version of the Doll's dialogue that's done by a different VA. It's actually Imposter Yosefka's VA, and it's different. It's like different dialogue with the same functions, essentially, where she's saying like, seek out blah blah blah. But in it, like, this is pre the character becoming. This is pre like the Hunter's Mark being a thing. As confusing as that sounds. And in this one, the character, like, they say that you're linked to the dream because you have a disease. So instead of, like, got ministered, messengers crawl on you, zap, okay, you're a hunter, you're linked to the dream. It's, you got the disease that's, like, in Yharnam, and as a result of that disease, you have become linked to the dream. And the doll is there. And she says to you, I can't remember I'm paraphrasing, but this is what she says. She says, basically the reason that you keep going through the same events over and over, dying, waking up like it was a dream, and then waking up, like, you die, you wake up again, you die, you wake up again. that's you going insane. Because, like, you have a disease, the disease is rotting your brain, and you have lost the ability to distinguish what is real from what is not real. And that's why things seem like they do. That's why you die and you wake up and you dream about a doll and then you come back again. She says, like, this is what the madness is doing to you. And she's very, very, like, cagey about, like, she's sort of, like, saying, like, I might not be real, none of this might be real.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's saying, like, instead of talking about blood echoes, they talk about madness. And they're like, you're going mad, so seek out even more madness. And the more madness you seek out, the stronger, like, I will make you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically in the early versions, they are very, very, like, it might all be, like, none of it might be happening. You might have hallucinated the whole game. But in the version we got, it's quite clear, like, no, this really happened. And then there's, like, the dreams are just alternate stacked realities.
And then if you pick the ending where Gurman cuts your head off, I think the implication is you wake up in Yarnum and you're, like, not supposed to remember much. So it seems like it was a dream, but it really did happen.
Yeah, you remember it as though it were a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might actually, like, just because we've got time, like, I might look up, because I have that dialogue lying around. Hey, Sin, why don't you talk while I'm doing this?
Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, Baby Yoda. Acer Statics is asking, why
hello.
Sin have Gremlin's toy? That's no Gremlin. This is Baby Yoda. Look. Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, do you like Bloodborne? Yes, I love Bloodborne. Thank you, Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda shouldn't be playing Bloodborne.
He's like 50. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, he ages slowly. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. This is the doll. This is actually my translation of what she said. And we have some of this did get officially translated, but not all of it. So I won't, I'll just stick with the one I did because it's the full thing. So it's, this dream is the nightmare of those afflicted by the disease. You are on the verge of death and consumed by madness, but you will yourself to survive. That is the nightmare you are living through. You're the same as them. That's why you wake up when you die like it's all just a nightmare. That's what madness is. So she's basically saying, like, you are going mad. And the fact that you are dying and coming back and dying and coming back is a symptom of madness. It may not actually be happening. This may all just be a hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hang on. Do you think Baby Yoda is Yaddle's child? Sin.
No.
Do you know who Yaddle is?
Yes.
I'm curious.
It's the girl Yoda.
Oh my god, you did it.
Of course I know. Oh my god. Oh, why would I say this is Richie? Why would I say I know something so confidently?
Yeah.
If I didn't know what it was, and it was related to Baby Yoda, I'd be like, oh, Richie, what is that?
No, because I remember, like, before The Mandalorian was on, you were like, stupid Star Wars friend. Star Wars is so dumb. I don't care. The Mandalorian comes on, you see Baby Yoda instantly, you're like, Richard, that's not how the Mandalorian code works.
It's true. Richie tried
You just became this expert overnight.
No, Richie tried to say something about, and I shut it down. I was like, no, Richie, you're wrong. And then Richie had to be like, oh, shit, you're so pedantic.
Yeah. I said the tables have certainly turned. So who is the pedantic one? You're like, actually, Richard, that's not how the Mandalorian code works. I'm now a Star Wars expert because I've seen Baby Yoda structure.
We should do a Star Wars podcast.
We did. No one liked it. We lost like 5 subs.
We should do another one.
Will it just be about the Mandalorian?
Yes.
I haven't seen the Mandalorian.
You should watch it. It's very cool. It's very, because it's made by Avengers. It's actually good.
Mm-hmm. We all know the prequels are the only canonical Star Wars.
What?
Okay. We all know the prequels are the only good Star Wars.
They're not horrible. They're just a little weak. Um, Also, another good thing is WandaVision. Have you seen it?
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't have Disney Plus.
You don't have to have Disney Plus to watch those things.
I can't be bothered torrenting them.
So it's really good. I actually enjoy it a lot. It's really good. Yeah.
Okay. You know what I do?
What?
I am subscribed to those like stupid like, here's our recap and Easter eggs you didn't notice channels, and I just watch those. So that way I've been able to follow the entire MCU for the last 12 years without seeing any of the films.
But the films are so good.
But they're just like...
They're so good. They're funny action comedies. They're very good.
I know, but
only
like...
good action comedies around. Give me more action comedies. This is what I want in life. Do you know how desperate I am for good action comedies? I go on Netflix, and I'm like, Netflix, show me action comedies. And it does. And then I go on IMDb, and it's like 3.5 out of 10. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to watch it. And I watch it, and it's not very good, but at least it has some action, and it has some humor. This is how desperate I am.
Yeah, okay.
Can anyone recommend good action comedies to me? I'd really appreciate it.
The thing about the MCU is like I am tangential to a lot of like comics people, so I sort of like I just squint and I recognize bits and pieces of it and think, oh, it's that thing. All right, this happened. You pretend this didn't happen, but you were going like when Infinity War happened, you were like, Richard, you're a nerd. You're a nerd, Richard. You know that the Infinity War, that's based on a comic, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And she's like, so can you tell me what happened? Like, it was the characters in it. What happens to the characters in it? Because you wanted like me to spoil.
This is okay. I can tell you for a fact. This is Richie confusing me with someone else. Oh my God, I am irate because, and I know this is not true. Oh, let me. I'm gonna pull my chair up. I'm gonna pull it up, pull it forward. This is not true, Richie, because I hate spoilers. The games that I want to play, I do not watch the trailers because I don't want nothing spoiled. Movies I want to see, I do not watch trailers. I tell my boyfriend's like, oh, can I tell you something? No. He's like, it's not a spoiler. It's just, I'm like, no. So no way would I ask you to spoil something for me. So either you're misremembering it.
Yeah, you were asking me what happened
in the...
No, you were specifically asking me what happened in the Thanos comics, and I had to explain that, like,
I would never ask
it has
you
a different...
I wouldn't want to spoil anything for myself.
Well, you did, and I had to explain to you that in the original...
Do you have proof? We record all of our conversations. Where's your proof, NSA?
And I had to explain to you that in the original...
This would never happen.
Thanos has a crush on Death, who is his sexy skeleton lady. And he wants to kill the universe to get her to notice him.
After the fact, maybe after I watched Infinity War, I was like, oh, hey, so what happened in the comic? After, not before.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember when it came out.
Is this the end of the Snack Covenant?
I think the end of the Snack Covenant happens roughly every month. There'll be some new low to which we haven't sunk. And we sink there and we think this is fine.
Do you want to see... a thing that I don't think you've seen before? Okay. So... Ow.
There's apparently a very nice question about the Great Ones. Okay, I see it. It's from Aaron. I'll answer it.
Okay, let's answer. But look, I have a special book. It's from Loot Crate. Look, special. It's cool.
Yeah. What's in it?
That's what's in it.
Thank you, Sin. Thank you. I have. I don't know why this was on my desk, but I have the book of illustrations by Isidore Granville.
Oh, cool. It's
kind of like proto-furry art.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So Aaron's question is, why do so many Great Ones have humanoid postures and features? Like, why does Cos have a human face? Were they once human?
Yes.
Sin.
Yeah, I think all of the great ones are not created in a vacuum. They're just creatures that at some point ascend to a higher plane of existence. And that's why some of them have like features that are recognizable to us. Richie?
Yes, I think it's that, because what they're getting at with cause is like, I don't know how much of this was in there initially and how much of it was they did it in the DLC to tie it up, but they're really making the point with the DLC that like cause used to be a person. She was from Loran. Loran happened before. Loran is really close to us because it's like just above our heads if we imagine the worlds are stacked. So to really hammer home, like, this is cyclical. Like, the things that are happening now are things that happened before, they will happen again. And like, in the next time this happens, like, our hunter as a great one will be the, like, the cause equivalent people be worshipping us.
Hmm.
Because they all look unique. They're all the result of, like, someone ascends to become a great one. They're not like a species that, yeah.
Except for the amygdala. But
Well, yeah, but like the thing is that literally they can't reproduce. That's why they're all unique. You will never see another one because
oh my
they
god,
cannot.
maybe the amygdala can reproduce. Maybe that's the thing.
Yeah, well, we think they might be.
Yeah, because that
Yeah,
would explain why they're so similar. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
Vasil is
so
asking, Richie, who
yeah,
do you think is the oldest great one?
it's never made clear.
I
Like,
think
maybe the moon
Erd,
presence.
oh, the moon presence, but
Odin.
maybe like Erden ascended so much, like Erden has no
Yeah,
form, just a voice that we never hear, so Erden has
yeah.
no voice either.
You cannot grasp the form of Odin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like, we don't know how many other great ones there are. There might be another like 50 we don't encounter.
Gotta catch 'em all, great ones.
Hang on, there's a thing.
Yeah.
Raymil left one, and I'm trying to. It's like the follow up to something they said before. I don't completely get because the so-called Ascension is turning into a monster. But like, you're ascending into like another form of like super being. Like you're like cause is like infinitely powerful beyond anything a human can do. That's why like it's Ascension. You wouldn't evolve into like, cause you'd turn into just like a very large person. Do you think Demon Souls and Bloodborne are still in the same universe? I think they are. I think it's like it's still definitely a thing. Like they still could be like I think they're just not explicit. But like it used to be explicit. Like we have the documents that say it was explicit. They just sort of toned it down and toned it down and toned it down. I want to be clear because people say, "Well, was Demon Souls 2?" It wasn't called Demon Souls 2. It wasn't going to be sold as Demon Souls 2 because the whole point of what they were doing is they realized that they wanted to move it forward and they wanted to make a game that was faster and played differently and had a different environment. So they weren't going to sell it as Demon Souls 2 because it's nothing like Demon Souls. But it was explicitly supposed to be the same world, just later on. Which is why when we talk about it, I talk about it in terms of like Drakengard and Nier, where the Nier games are set in the same universe as the Drakengard games, but they don't actually play very much like each other, and you don't need to have played Drakengard to understand Nier. It's just, oh, it's the same world, I get it. Or even like the Final Fantasy games that are all set in Ivalice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, apparently Asa has something about Murgo. Oh no, where's Asa? Oh, here we are. Why didn't Ariana's kid die? I think it did.
I guess. Did it die,
I mean,
or did we finish the
well,
game before?
the thing is,
No.
like, yeah, it's only alive for like a tiny amount of time before the game ends. And it clearly wants the kid to die so we can get the cord. So it probably would have died on its own or
But
something like that.
that's a good point. Maybe it would have been a
Yeah.
good mechanic if you let the kid live, but then come back after doing some other mission or whatever, and then the kid is dead and you can get the cord.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing that would have been cool is, because, you know, we meet Yusefka and she's like transforming or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
Yeah.
think that she's pregnant. But what are your thoughts on it?
No, she's not pregnant because she's you get the cord from her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the cord, if you read the description of the cord, it says this is the cord that Willem wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately you're presented with a slight logical issue, which is that why would Willem want the cord of a child that he doesn't know exists yet?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the cord of her child, it's a cord she has. When she's lying there, she's like this, and she's got her hand up like this, and she's going...
Mm-hmm.
And it's very specifically, like, that specific animation, her hand is up, and she's going like this. She's holding something in her hand. And I am pretty much sure she's meant to be holding the cord. You just don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
What she's done is she's got the cord that Willem had, because it says it's Willem's cord. We'll pretend that this phone is the cord, and she's holding the cord like this. She's got it. And it's during the red moon, and she's like, I'm trying to, like, ascend. Like, I'm trying to get the power out of the cord. And she's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to, like, use it. That's what she's doing. It's not a pregnancy.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting, again, to... Well, maybe it would have been too much, like, too many answers. But it would have been cool to come back, let's say Yusefka's gone. And then later you encounter something, and you realize, oh, damn, that's Yusefka.
Well, that looks like that was a thing. We talked about it.
Oh, that's true, but it's more with
the Garden of Eyes,
No, with
the Garden of Eyes.
With the garden. Oh yes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because it looks like initially the Garden of there was going to be a unique Garden of Eyes that came from Imposter Yusefka.
Mm-hmm, right.
I say looks like it's vague, but the pieces are there if you want to put them together. Like it's one of those things that's not stated outright, but there's all these like weird assets like around Garden of Eyes and the clinic, and there's a Garden of Eyes that's called like brackets sister, as in sister of the Healing Church. So it sort of looks like, and it's wearing a tattered like Healing Church robe, and it's sort of like, I think at some point in the 10 bazillion... This is the thing about Bloodborne when we talk about cut stuff, because the plot of the game, in terms of what you do, and what everybody else is doing, pretty much stays consistent across all the versions. But then little things like who is in charge of the clinic and what happens to them, which isn't super relevant to the plot, that changes so many times. So it looks like in one of the God knows how many revisions they did of the lady in the clinic, who wasn't always Yusefka, wasn't always an imposter, wasn't always like a Healing Church person. There were a whole lot of different identities for her. At some point, she was going to do what Imposter Yusefka does now. She was going to ascend, and she was going to become a Garden of Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should do an episode, because right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on Hollow Knight a little bit, because people seem to enjoy it. And so we're gonna play the game, look at lore, stuff like that. We already have some people scheduled to come in and talk about it.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to do is Chords of Bloodborne, which would be a 5-episode series, where first... Yes, Richard, go on. I can see it in your face. Go on, what?
You just the first you've mentioned it to me.
No, I didn't.
No, I mean, this is the first you've mentioned.
Let me go to our chat. I'm going to...
It's the first I recall you mentioning it to me. I may have been out of it at the time.
This is Richie. Because sometimes Richie likes to pull up conversations. We have to be like... 1/27/21. 4-part series called Chords of Bloodborne.
I don't remember this. I think I probably assumed you were joking.
Okay. Thank you, Richie.
Um.
Oh, you know what? It's because
Oh
I
yeah, here
wanted.
we go. Here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Here
I
we go.
wanted to elaborate, but then
Oh, ho, 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 ho!
what?
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
4-part series called Chords of Bloodborne. Immediately after, gigantic wall of text of you telling me other things I have to do. So I didn't notice it because it's immediately like, here's a bunch of things I want you to read out. All right, so I was not ignoring you. You were just bombarding me with things.
What I was bombarding Richie with just before people get irate at me, it's actually notes of Richie that everyone loves so much. So I have to think up notes of Richie to include in the podcast that Richie then acts out. I just wanted people to know. If it was up to Richie, we would have no notes of Richie. He'd be like, this is stupid. People don't like it. Why are we doing this? We need to close down the channel and blow up the earth. So it's me who keeps Richie calm. You're welcome.
That's true, actually. That's true.
So yeah, so actually I was thinking about it because there's 4 chords, right, in the game?
Yes, yes.
So we need 5 episodes, and the first episode we'll talk about the chords in general and stuff like that, and then chord by chord.
Okay.
Cool.
Chords of Bloodborne!
Vasil has a question. Do you see it?
If great ones lose their child and yearn for a surrogate, how can Cos have the orphan?
Well, Richie mentioned in the past that perhaps, sorry, Cos was somehow keeping the orphan from being born.
I think it's that, yeah.
Because she knew that she would lose the child.
Yeah.
But then, here comes Bergenworth.
And Muggins here shows up with a scythe.
And gets the baby out, and...
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, I'm pretty sure the orphan's not born. The orphan is like, ripped out of Cos's womb. As, like, I think, okay, we talked about this before, but, like, we make so many of these, I'm sure people, like, didn't see it, but, like, the when you beat the orphan, right, the smoke orphan rises up.
Yes.
Okay. That's the thing you actually have to kill to get Nightmare Slain. And that rises up out of Cos's abdomen. So we're like, that's probably the real orphan. And if you actually look at what that thing is, because it's got this weird shader applied to it that just makes it into an indistinct blob. But what it is when you see, if you've ever seen like footage or images of a fetus developing, there's a period at the very beginning where you basically look like a tadpole. You're just like a head and like the spine, and it's sort of like coiled up around that. That's what that thing is. It's really hard to tell because of the way it's rendered, but that's a very, very like early in development fetus that it's actually the thing that you're killing. You don't notice it because they uncoil it to make it into a thing you can actually hit. But I know this because I've seen the model like without textures applied and like without the cos thing in the middle. It starts off coiled up. It looks exactly like a developing fetus, and it uncoils so you can kill it. And then when you kill it, it coils back up again. So that presumably was the orphan. It was this like still like in gestating like half-formed thing that was probably never ever going to be born. That's the thing that they ripped out of Cos. And that's where that cord comes from. So the orphan was never actually born.
And Richie, when we fight the orphan of Cos, like the boss, they look a little bit like Gurman with a scythe, but like giant guy with like placenta.
Yeah.
Could you tell us your thoughts on that?
Certainly, Sin. If you look at Bloodborne Up Close Episode 2, we talk a lot about that.
Could you elaborate in 5 minutes or less for the people who are here, who showed up here in the morning on a Saturday or like in the middle of the night on a Sunday?
Yeah,
Could you show some respect?
It's 3 a.m. for me.
Well, I had to wake up at 8 on a Saturday, which is unheard of. I've never done that for anyone in my life, Richie.
Okay, so
ask my boyfriend what happens if he beforehand ever tried to wake me up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Go on.
Can I talk about what you did last time you went to see your boyfriend's family?
Okay, after you talk about why orphan looks the way they do when we fight.
Okay. So, like, the orphan that you fight, as we established, 'tis not the real orphan. 'Tis a strange creature conjured up out of the nightmare. And it looks like it's conjured up out of the orphan's, like, anguish and, like, pain. It becomes this sort of, like, monster. And the fact it looks like Gurman, in a sense, it's this very tall old man with a big scythe thing. That, I think, is very deliberate. Because it's supposed to resemble Gurman, because Gurman is presumably what killed Kaz, because that's who is being tormented by the orphan. That's why when you defeat the orphan, the doll says Gurman is sleeping.
And also, we actually made a video called Inside an Umbilical Cords back in 2019, in February 2019.
Oh, now it's okay to say watch another video.
And I'm gonna...
Now it's okay.
And now I'm gonna link it right now, because a lot of
and
people...
link it while they're here, so that they can just leave.
Yeah, well, no, because we answered the question. People may leave now because they heard the 5-minute version. They don't have to go watch a whole 35-minute video. Okay. Also, Richie, are you working on more Bloodborne up close? Because I want the record straight. The podcasts, all the wonderful content you get, I'm the one that edits it. Except for It Can't Be Helped.
Mm-hmm. Which there's not been an episode of for over a year.
Probably 2 years.
No, it's been 1 year.
It's been 1 year? Okay, well, all the... Last one was in 2020? I don't think so. Last one was in 2019.
It was the end of 2019, so it's a bit over a year ago.
So
a bit over
2
a year
years.
ago.
We're in 2021. There was nothing in 2020. Technically 2 years, but anyway.
It was late 2019.
Blah blah blah. But just wanted people to know that the reason we have all this wonderful content is because Sin tirelessly spends day and night editing the podcast.
Yeah.
And Richie, what do you have to do? What did you take on last year?
Bloodborne up close.
Bloodborne up close. And how many episodes have you edited? 3. So let's compare.
1, 2,
3. So this podcast have been going on for about 3 years now. We have about 223 episodes of the Snack Covenant released, as well as a few episodes of the Cryptids, as well as about 300 videos on Patreon, as well as the classics, as well as the content that was there before Richie joined.
Yeah.
So 3 years, hundreds of videos.
About 500, yeah.
And and Richie does 3 videos a year.
Not even that. If you average it out, it's probably like 2 and 2.1.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So but Rich is working on episode 4 as we speak, so you'll probably see it by 2027.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richie.
Yeah. In my defense, I have to write a lot of Bloodborne wiki.
Thank you, Richie.
You can look at it as Sin is freeing up time for me to contribute to the Bloodborne wiki, which is run by Meth, who is also a Slav. So, through the transient property of Slavness, I'm still working for you.
Still working for Putin.
Yeah, you edit to free up time for me to write for the wiki that you then reference, so it just goes around
like
and around in circles.
Yeah.
Yes. Hang on. I'm looking at the chat.
Okay.
While playing Bloodborne, I somehow understood something, but now after all the explanations, I don't understand it anymore. We're sorry. Hang
There's
on, we'll
this
just
thing
ask.
called
We'll
the
just ask
Snap
me. I'll ask
Covenant. You should watch it.
Miyazaki. How do you feel? He laughed and said, "That's one interpretation. It's fine." Something about the cord. Hang on, I'm trying to read the chat backwards. The coil of the fetus is like a third of the umbilical cord. Kind of want the experts to weigh in. Yeah, I am reading you Hopebringer. Hang on. Okay, well, in the meantime, it's like, what's the deal with the Giants and Cathedral Ward? Sin, what do you think is the deal with the Giants
Which
and Cathedral
giants
Ward?
is that?
Well, they say the Giants and the tall dude, so I think they just mean the church giants and the church servants.
What about the undead giants from the dungeon?
Why, Sin? They seem very similar.
Yes. Yes, they do. Oh my god, we didn't do an episode on the church giants.
Are you sure?
I'm looking at enemies of Bloodborne. We only have the undead giants from the dungeon. We'll have to rectify that. Eventually. So if anybody wants about the undead giants, here's the link. But for the giants, they're basically just working for the church. The healing church thinks it's cool to dig up corpses or whatever, or maybe kidnap them from the labyrinths, I don't know, and make the giants work for the healing church. They're probably underpaid, they probably have no union, they probably have no breaks. It's not very cool.
Yeah, so to add to what Sin is saying, take these off because it's making everything blue. To add to what Sin is saying, you can tell the way the church works because they show you the cathedral plaza at two different points in time. And they do it very deliberately because when you go into the cathedral ward plaza, the steps outside Erden Chapel, the first thing you will see is there is a church servant, one of the tall, pale Fumarians with the lanterns, and they walk down. They go, and they walk down, and that's the first thing you see. When you go into the Hunter's Nightmare, you wake up in the nightmare version of that area, and you look outside, and there is an old hunter, and they go. So what it's and then like as you go through there, you ascend up the stairs to the Grand Cathedral. In the waking world, when you do it, there's all the Thumerians, so there's the ones with the sides and the lanterns and everything, and they're guarding it. In the nightmare, it's the old hunters. So what they're getting at is, in the not even the glory days of the church, but like just before the church became completely dysfunctional mess that was like eating itself alive. Before things got as bad as they are now, that area was guarded by people. It was guarded by hunters. It was guarded by Yharnamites, the kind that you see throughout the game. They were protecting the church. Where we are now, in Yharnam's history, those people are attacking the church. Because Yharnam has completely turned against the church. It looks like the catalyst for that was the burning of old Yharnam. So, the church do not have anyone on their side except the church. So what they do is, they are going into the chalices and they are dredging up the Thumerians to do that for them. They're using them as guards. That's what the cavern under the clinic is getting at. Because when you go down that ladder into the cavern, it's under your sepsis clinic, which we know the healing church have taken over. There are the giants down there, and they are dressed like the giants in the chalices, the undead giant bosses, but they have the bell, which only the church people have. So what they're doing is they're just getting those giants and they are sticking the bells to them, and they're using those as a kind of control. And there are unused bell animations that we don't see in the game, but they existed at one point. They're still in there. You can like look at them in animation viewers, and the idea is that they are using the bells to control them. Oh, hey, fun-sized dragons here. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So the healing church are using the bells to control the church servants, essentially. And it would have been more like, oh god, I think you would probably have been able to move them around because there's like a bell asset that doesn't do anything. But it looks like at some point you would have been able to ring the bell and it would have made the church servants patrol differently and you would have used that to sneak around the ward. But like, there we go.
Thank you, Retty. We've actually gone way over time. For this AMA, we should probably start wrapping up.
It can keep going.
Oh yeah, when do you? Because it's late for you. When do you have to go?
It's like 3:30. I don't give a shit.
I don't know if this is healthy for you, Roger.
Nothing's healthy. I'm living off Diet Coke and these sour gummy worms.
I don't know if that's good for your teeth, Richie.
My teeth are not prominent at all. It was actually very good because when I was a teenager, I had braces and no one could tell.
Oh, interesting. So what do we do? Do we keep going? Up to you. It's late for you.
Like half an hour, I don't know.
All right. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay, hang on. Question was, spiral fetus, spiral chords, other chords, alien fetuses. So, the third chords in Bloodborne, they're specifically, they're an organ that the Children of Great Ones have. And they're not called, like, they're not literally an umbilical cord, by both then. They're not literally an umbilical cord. They're just called an umbilical cord because they have the function of an umbilical cord, which is that they link the parent to the child. So, what's going on is that the Children of the Great Ones, they have this organ in them that if you grab that organ, like that organ is the link between the parent and the child. So in a sense, it's an umbilical cord because it's linking them, but it's not literally that. It's not literally like a cord that was coming out of the belly button that was attached to the placenta or whatever of the mother. It was just it's just the link as an organ. That's why, for example, like Ariana's child has an umbilical cord, and that cord is linking it to Erden, but Erden has no physical form. If that makes sense. So, I mean, it's bizarre, but you have to accept that like it's a cord symbolically. So that's what they are. They're symbolically the cord. So if you have one of those organs, that's why they're called like, it's like they call them the cord of the eye as well, and like the way it's written is like umbilical cord. It's sort of like written with these little hook brackets around it because that's just a name. Yeah, the psychic link organ. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, well, sort of. It's like that. It's a link. So there's a whole. This is actually in Up Close episode. I don't know if it's 1 or 2. I think it's 2, where we talk about what the umbilical cord is. So there is a big tradition in Japan concerning umbilical cords where a child will sometimes, not a child, a mother will keep, child or a mother, a parent will keep the dried umbilical cord of their child in a little box. It's called heso no o. I think that's how you say it. You keep a dried umbilical cord, and it's like, this is a memento of the relationship I have with my parents. It's like, this is the link. It's like, this symbolizes the link, but also literally it was the link because it's my umbilical cord. That's literally what connected us. And they hang on to them. And that's what they're kind of doing with the cords in the game. The cords are like, that is, because that's the link, you can take that cord and you can use it to also like have that link, if that makes sense. Like, you can take you have within you the link between the parent and the child. So if you're like Willem does it and Postia does it, you take that link and you can use it, you can meditate on that link, and it's like you have a sort of direct line between the parent and the child that's letting you connect with it. That's why like you can use a cord to summon a great one, because it's like the great ones want children. I have in my hand literally a thing that is a link between a great one and its child, so I can offer that up, and to them that's almost like the same as the child. They can reach out and they're like, that this is the child, this is the child. It's why it explains a lot about the one Menses have, because the Menses chord is really weird because they're like, this is Murgo's chord, and it gave them audience with Murgo, which seems to create a weird kind of ontological situation where, how do I have Murgo's chord if Murgo is dead? Like, how am I getting audience with Murgo via part of Murgo's body should Murgo be dead? And what that actually is it's because you have Murgo's chord, you have the link between Murgo and Murgo's parents, so I can use that chord to get access to Murgo. Like, I hold it, I'm holding in my hand like kind of parts of Murgo. Murgo's spirit is up there. I can reach out to Murgo. Murgo's parent can reach out to it. Cos can reach out, etc. That's how the chords. I know that's a slightly roundabout way of doing it, but basically, they're called umbilical chords because they symbolize a link, and you're taking advantage of the link, if that makes sense. It's not attaching to people. It's like you're holding like the connection, basically. That's how it works. That's why like Willem wants it, because if Willem picks up that chord, he has no, this is what it's like. This is what it's like. You know how when you get a seashell and you hold it up to your ear and you can hear the sea? I mean, you can't literally hear the sea, but that's the idea. You can like this the sound inside is like you can hear the sea. You are holding up like the chord of the Great One, and you can hear the Great One kind of speaking to you, and you can hear the child, you can hear them connected together. And that's why Willem has it, because Willem's like, this is my like direct line to the Great Ones. I'm just going to sit here and try to tune into this thing and think about this thing and all the things around it, all the knowledge that is contained within it, and think about it. And that's what he's doing when he's on his little, they call it the lunarium. The Japanese name is like the tsukimi, because tsukimi is like it's like a meditative thing where you view the moon. He's focusing on that, and that's why, like, Impostia Circus, I'll do my phone thing again. She's got her chord. She's like, she's like, this is the chord. I can see things. There's things in my head. Like, all this knowledge is pouring into me, and it's pouring into me via this, because the Great Ones are, like, attracted to it. That's how they work. Phew, that was long, sorry. Other questions. How does the amygdala arm work even though it's severed? I think it actually says that in the descriptions, like it just twitches unnaturally, because it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever done this, but like if you do sever the leg of a bug, it will continue to twitch. Oh god, one day this really freaky thing happened where hold on, has this got anything in it? No, okay. There was like a bug and it was crawling around on my desk. If you imagine this reverse run of DVD is my desk, it was crawling around, and I was trying to catch it and I went like that, and I got it, but I severed its head with the rim of the glass. So I'm like, oh. And I lifted the glass up, and the head and the body are still moving around independently. Like the head is like its mandibles are opening and closing, its antennae are flying around everywhere. And like the body is like spasming. So I think it's just that. Who left the note about the 3/3 chords? That's just someone from Bergenworth was studying them and they realized you needed 3. Because, ROM. This is a thing that's like, it's kind of confusing because they don't outright say it, but it's what happened. ROM became a spider because they used the chord from the Orphan of Cos. They were like meditating on the chord, all the knowledge fills Rom's head, and Rom transforms into the Great One. The failed Great One is the point. She doesn't quite make it. And the notion is, okay, it didn't quite get us there because we had the one. And they realize, like, clearly too late because Bergenworth's a wreck by the time you get there, but they realize you need 3. If you have 3 of these chords, you have 3 times the knowledge. You have 3 times the Great One sort of experience sloshing around your brain. When you ascend, you will truly become a Great One. You won't become like Rom, basically. Theories on Snuffles. I have 0 idea. The only thing about Snuffles that we know for certain is that he looks a lot like the statues in Old Yarnum that are by the altar. So I think it was something to do with that. Because well, I guess for people who don't know, Snuffles is our name for a deleted enemy that's like a little fat pig man. He kind of looks like Totoro, and he's got these weird horns that look like a fungus that's growing out of his head. The name Snuffles is actually one of our patrons came up with it. She's not in chat, but Katie Jones, if she ever shows up, she's the one who named him Snuffles. Because I showed her while I was like looking through the files, and she went, "I'll call him Snuffles," and I'm like, "All right." So he's been Snuffles ever since then, and yeah, he has these weird sort of lumps on his head that are grow kind of like a jackalope, like that, and he also has this huge, like he's like a pig, but his nose like this big upturned, like it's like this, it's like ugh. So he looks a lot like when you go into Old Yarnum, the altar where the blood starved beast is. There's those two statues of like people that are hunched over and they have cloths over their head. He looks like that. And that's the closest we have to what was this supposed to be. It's something like that. There's also, interestingly, there is artwork. This is not in the game anymore. Like, there's not a separate mesh you can apply to the model. There is artwork of Snuffles wearing armor, but it's not like armor that they put on. It's like this badly fitting armor that's like torn and ripped, and it looks like that was a person, and they transformed into this huge pig thing, and the armor, like, they sort of burst through it. So it's like hanging off them, and like the flesh is sort of like there are these like fat rolls sort of sticking through. So it's something like that. There's something going on. There is evidence that there was going to be like a beast transformed knights in the chalices. They're called Shrine Knight, and I don't know what the hell they are, but they're like a very tall, thin. They kind of look like the Ruin Sentinels from Dark Souls 2. They're this very tall, thin knight, and they have an option. They're not in the game anymore. If you load up the data, there's an option you can switch on and off that gives them like basically a beast body that goes over their existing one. So you could have had them switch. You could have had them transform, kind of like Gascoigne does. So there's stuff in there about like more of an emphasis on like knights in the dungeons who turned into beasts, but we don't really know. Oh, Chad's question. Hang on. Is Rom what the altar is in the real world? Rom, does she look different in the dream? Okay, so good God. The Altar of Despair is, I think it is supposed to be like, okay, what it is now. What it is now in Bloodborne version 1.0 and beyond. It's pretty clearly, I think, actually meant to be Rom. And Ibriat, like that's just her corpse. You can't get to Upper Cathedral Ward before Rom is dead, so we don't have a means of checking what was going on. And okay, technically you can glitch up there, but it's a glitched version. It's not like what you're supposed to be seeing. So I do think it is supposed to be Rom's corpse after she dies in Bergenworth. And Ibriatis is crying because Ibriatis, if you read about her history, she is supposed to be something that was left behind. She wasn't as powerful as the other great ones or something like that, and they abandoned her in Ys. So the way I took it is Ibriatis seeing Rom's corpse, sensing a kindred spirit in Rom, because she sees in Rom like, oh, this is also something that is like me. It's something that was abandoned and left behind because it wasn't advanced enough. And that's why she cries over it. Because she's like, I'm alone and I finally found something that is like me, but it has died, and she's crying over it. The actual fucking function of the altar, when it was initially conceived, as far as I can tell, this is very as far as I can tell, but the Altar of Despair was under Bergenworth. It was not under the Grand Cathedral. You would go, after you beat the Willem boss, who looked ridiculous, by the way. I'm very glad they cut the Willem boss because he is ludicrous. after you beat the Willem boss, you would go underneath Bergenworth, and that's where the Altar of Despair and also the cave under Yusefka's clinic. Those were like one area that was made. It was just like a big underground cave under Bergenworth. You would go under it, and you would progress to the end, and at the very end of it, the Altar of Despair would be what it is now. It's Rom's corpse, and you think, what the hell is this? You touch the Rom corpse, and that is how you get to the Rom boss fight. So, like, Rom is dead. It's like Mikolash. Like, you touch Mikolash's corpse, you go to where Mikolash is. You would touch Rom's corpse, you would go to where Rom is. So that's the origin of that asset and why it's so weird. But yeah, it makes very little sense. Actually, another interesting thing that we didn't realize till we looked at the data, the Altar of Despair isn't even Rom. The Altar of Despair is actually just an altar. There is an altar behind Rom. It's like a nice church altar. And it's not that Rom's corpse is the Altar of Despair. It's that Rom's corpse is on the Altar of Despair. They've offered Rom to the altar. And when you use Annalise's flesh, you're offering the flesh to the altar as well. And it's possible they were trying to revive Rom. Because it's like, well, this is a thing that can somehow make time change. So we'll stick Rom on it and see if she comes back, and she didn't. But it looks like you can revive Annalise that way. So yeah, the altar is actually it just looks like the altar in the Grand Cathedral. It's just like the curved sort of place like that with like the box and everything. But you don't see it because this is all dark and covered in rocks. So Chad's like, were they going to use the suspicious floor hatch under Bergenworth? I don't actually know how you would have gotten to the caves. I just know they existed because we have a map of them. Basically, like, the original Bergenworth layout... Actually, I have some paper here I can draw. Hang on. My notepad. Some drawing. Okay, so you basically have... And then there's, like, the... I'll draw a little ROM here. Which is one of this, isn't it? Okay, so this is the old Bergenworth layout. So this is Bergenworth as we know it, where Willem is. This is actually, I'll draw a little perimeter around it so you know where we are. Okay. So you have to imagine like Bergenworth is all enclosed. Like, I don't know if it was a wall around it or something like that. That's Bergenworth where we go in games. Like, that's where Willem would be. I don't know where Willem would be in this version of it. But like that's sort of his little spot now. The observatory dome is not there. It's just like a flat-topped building. This is the research hall, not the research hall, the lecture hall. That's the lecture hall. Which we know from the nightmare. Here it's not in the nightmare. You can just walk to and from it, and it's there. And you know that round area that Sin was like, this is for speed dating. Hi, Sin. That is a spiral staircase that goes up to... So I know for a fact it was a spiral staircase. If I had to guess where it went to the observatory dome. So the dome that's on Bergenworth now is actually on top of that. You would go up the door to the dome. That's as much as I know. And then I know there is the cavern. So hang on, I'll divide the cavern up. So the bottom part there, that's the cave under Yusefka's clinic. And that is the Altar of Despair, and that is Rom. So you would somehow, presumably after you beat Willem, because Willem is listed in the bosses prior to Rom. So I'm assuming that's just in order. So you would beat Willem. Where was Willem? Might have been in the little study here. Might have been here. No idea. That would have gotten you into that cave. You would have gone to the cave. So just imagine, like, that's the cave under Yusefka's clinic, and then instead of it leading to the clinic, it leads to the Altar of Despair. That's why they look the same. You would follow it all the way through and pop Rom. And you touch Rom's corpse, like you touch Mikolash's corpse, and that would just, like... That would zap you to where Rom is. So you would just be like, jump, and now I'm in the wrong boss fight. That's how we are reasonably sure it worked. And then when they decided to nix the, they decided to get rid of the lecture hall. They moved it to the nightmare. They just made that invisible. That's actually still on the Bergenworth map. They just make it invisible. You can't see it. And they got rid of that. They shifted it. They cut it in half, put that half under the cathedral, that half under the clinic. And then they just made the lake. And they made it so you jump in the lake, and that's how you get to Rom. So there's your Altar of Despair explanation.
Thank you, Richie.
Oh, and also, like, if you want to know where the jumping in the lake to teleport thing came from, it's actually backwards, interestingly, because the initial way you would have met Mikolash is you would have jumped in a lake and gone to Mikolash. And they kind of switched it up. So now you touch Rom's corpse to go to Rom and jump in. No, you touch. Yeah. Now in the current game, you touch Mikolash's corpse to go see Mikolash, and you jump in a lake to fight Rom. In the original one, I don't mean like there is an original pristine version, because there's like 20 different fucking versions of this game. But in the version that I've seen, you touched Rom's corpse to get to Rom and jumped in a lake to meet Mikolash.
Thank you, Richie. I had mushroom soup while you were talking.
Yeah. People thought you were sick.
Mushroom soup.
You left without saying anything. People thought you were sick.
No, because you were talking. I'm like, oh, leave quietly. You'll never notice. So
I would have worried, but you bothered placing Baby Yoda on the chair, so I thought, okay, you're probably not staggering off to vomit.
No, what? No. I'd vomit on stream. It would be very dramatic.
Yeah. I'm remembering the time that you were playing Crash Bandicoot and you'd left to make dumplings. You didn't say that you left to make dumplings. You just disappeared for about 45 minutes. No one knew where you were. People thought you'd collapsed. I was like having to keep the chat going, and then it turned out
I came back with dumplings.
You came back and I made dumplings.
Yeah, I love canned soups. They're so good and so easy to make. You take the can, you open it, you dump the soup, you add a little water, and you microwave it.
Yeah.
Awesome. But it took longer because I had to... My mom made soup, fancy soup, yesterday, and she gave it to us. And I was like, boyfriend, do you want fancy soup? He's like, so I had to warm up my boyfriend some fancy soup, and then I made myself some mushroom soup. It's very good. I also like tomato soup.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. This is from Solitas. Richie, are you and Sin going to stream some other niche games like when you streamed the old Armored Core?
We want to stream everything. It just depends on time. Like, the answer is yes, everything, maybe.
This is the thing about the time issue, because, like, we don't get to do stuff together that much. Basically, everything we do together is recorded. The only way we can put out this much content is that every conversation we have becomes an episode.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's Saturday night for me, Saturday morning for you.
Yeah.
So like this is the your Friday night. As soon as it was your Friday night, we started recording. Yes. You went to sleep, woke up, we recorded. Now I'm going to sleep, and then
tomorrow
tomorrow night your time we're recording.
So when I wake up tomorrow, we're recording again.
Yeah. So we're basically like we're just recording anytime we can.
And then
together.
Monday we're recording. Monday evening. Yeah. So when you wake up again, we record. Then the next day when you wake up, we record. Then Friday when you wake up, we record. And then Tuesday after that, we record again. Yeah. So
but
this
also
is what we record in between that because it's just the two of us.
Yeah. Sometimes you just call me and you're like, bro, do you have 10 minutes?
You got 10 minutes to record Eyelashes of Bloodborne?
Yes.
Yeah. Yay.
Apparently, Arthropod King says you look like their best friend.
What a twist! It is me, your best friend. That's been me
You
all
look
along.
like you look like the Unabomber.
Oh my god,
You
Richie!
do.
Oh my god. I actually watched that thing on Netflix about the Unabomber.
Huh?
Yeah, it's like a not a documentary, like it's like a series, but they were telling the story of it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's some good stuff on Netflix.
Remember the time you watched a thing on Ted Bundy,
Oh
and
my
you
god.
spent like a month going, "What should you watch a thing on Ted Bundy? I don't know. I don't know." And it's like he's not still out there.
No, thank
You don't
God.
have to keep worrying about Ted
But
Bundy.
it was very worrisome, and they were saying how like he could get away with like doing all those things because like the different agencies did not communicate. I was like, oh my god, why not? It was so messed up, so messed up. Cannot. There's just a big red button for emergency podcast. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, like an alarm on
Richie looks like Sin, and Sin looks like Richie more and more every day.
We actually talked about it because when people first watched the visual special, it's actually still up if you look through the videos on the channel.
Yeah,
it's like I think people expected my room and me to look more like you, and your room and you to look more like me. It was just like
yeah.
Do you want to see my shoes?
Certainly.
Okay, so basically, my sister and my mother clothe me.
Are you alright?
Yes! And so, they got me these shoes, and I think, again, that was like when the pandemic just started. Like, when we were, like, I was not expecting to be working from home for, like, this long, and so got me these cool shoes, right? And I show you. But what I did is I took off the shoelaces so I can wear it like slippers at home. So you can just slip your foot in. Look how cute. Look how cute.
Yeah.
Apparently it's really fancy. Apparently this is like really fancy stuff. And like oh, Nike.
You got fancy shoes, so you removed the laces and wear them as slippers.
Yeah, because I don't go anywhere. So it's like my fancy home shoes. Yeah, and it's easy to slip on without the things, because sometimes, you know, when you put shoes on, like, your heel gets this caught and then breaks your shoe, and it's like, no, this is perfect. It's very cool.
There's some more questions.
Okay, yeah, sure, what's the questions?
Fake name says, any thoughts on the spiders having 10 legs in Bloodborne?
We did an episode on spiders of Bloodborne. I'm pretty sure we talked about it, but Richie, go ahead. I just don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay.
Don't remember.
Okay. So I think it's like, if you look at the Celestials, they have like, they don't have 5 fingers on each hand. They have 6 on one and 7 on the other. So I think it's a way of showing that, like, this is, like, not a normal animal. This is, like, something approaching, like, it's something that's forcibly been evolved or created. It's not natural. That's why it's sort of asymmetrical, and there's odd numbers of limbs and digits. I actually think the 10 thing, it might actually be to hint that they were people. Because you would say, like, okay, it's a spider, so it's got 8 legs, but then it's like, it used to be a person, so it also has the 2 arms. Or even, like, it used to be a person, so it's 5 and 5, because that's, like, closer to human anatomy or something like that. Because the thing about the weird spiders, I miss the black ones from Menses, not the ROM ones, is that there's like one spider model, which is the Patches model. It's the Patches model with the bowl cut, the kind that you see crawling around Menses. And all they do is to make Patches, they get rid of the hair. And then to make the other spiders, they just get rid of the head. That's why it looks so weird, and like it just has a little dot for a head,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's nothing. Because I'm pretty sure they were never supposed to be non-human headed spiders in the game.
Mm,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Um, so what was the other one? Corpses with kin, cold blood, and the Nightmare Frontier. I think those are just meant to be like. Well, what do you think they are, Sin?
Nightmare Frontier?
Yeah.
Oh. What's wrong with the corpses?
They have kin, cold blood.
What's kin cold blood again?
It's the blood of the cosmic kin.
I don't know. Probably started transforming or too much insight or just like that. Ate a bad snack, got kin cold blood.
It's like are you transforming into the cosmic kin, and you're like, where? I said, Nicholas. Wait a minute, we just, please, what's a bit?
Yes.
Yes. So, the kin cold blood is like it's a sign that you're starting to like you see it all over Menses as well. That it's like signs that you're starting to change, to evolve into something else. So I think it's just that, because you need to be like at a certain level to be in the Nightmare Frontier. Like you have to have like been delving into the arcane for a long time to get there. I think it's just that. Yeah, I mean, also it's just a balancing thing, because by the time you get there, other cold blood's not that useful. Chad wants to know what the deal with it being called the Nightmare Apostle is. What do you think, Sin?
It's because Miyazaki saw Berserk, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like, apostles, but I have a nightmare. I will put my apostles in a nightmare and call them the Nightmare Apostles.
Oh my god.
What do you think?
It's pushing back, because I like that if we're level, because this is actually something like the height difference in real life. Oh no, you're up higher than
Yeah,
normal.
last time we talked, which was not recorded, I actually used this somehow to
Yeah.
make myself taller than you.
Yeah, I said it looks not actually made yourself taller, you've just stuck a cushion on your head.
There we go.
Alright, two can play at that game, Missy. So
No,
the deal
You have to. You see, I'm not using my hands. It has to stay up without you using your hands, Richie, for you to be actually taller than me.
Oh, I don't know if I can win this game.
Mm-hmm.
You've tricked me. Actually, I think I'm still
Ah, oh no.
Okay. So the notion of them being apostle is like, I think it's going back to the idea that they're all like the way that Patches worships Amygdala. That like they're people who are apostles of the nightmare. They're like flathead. It's true.
Yeah. Like what's preventing me from winning completely is that my headphones make
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I have a picture of you when you were demonstrating your flathead to me, and you have a whole pizza box on it with pizza in it, and you're just like,
Ah, that's amazing.
you're doing
Sometimes,
this like, who, me face?
you know what sometimes my boyfriend does? Apparently when I get annoying, which is never, he's
That's
just like
true.
puts like a cup of water on my head.
Yeah. Okay. I have more of these. I can balance
How
them.
many do you have? Heart-shaped
I have,
pillows.
I have 4 heart-shaped pillows. They're all different colors.
Oh,
I was so close.
almost.
Almost.
Continue.
I think it's just getting at the idea that like Patches is he worships the amygdala. He's like an apostle of the amygdala. I think it's just getting it like all these human-headed spiders were people. And they just worship the nightmare and they've transformed into these spider things, and that's where the name comes from.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, very, very cool.
It's Valentine's Day soon, so I'll be getting some more of these.
Oh, true, true.
They're hard to find at other times of year. Are there any other questions in the chat?
Are there any other questions in the chat?
Red Drifter says you're slowly becoming Willem.
Perfect.
Can we talk about the Willem boss? Because people might not have seen it.
Okay, yeah, sure, go ahead.
It's fucking stupid looking.
Oh my god, yeah, it is.
It's Willem in his chair, and he goes exactly like Sin, and goes and shoots like balls of light at you, and if you get too close to him, it's like his chair flies up in the air and he goes and tries to squash you. And it's the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen, and I'm genuinely glad they cut it. Because I'm like, I don't really care that a lot of the Souls games have like really stupid stuff in them. Because, oh yeah, and he's summoning eyeballs. It's just like eyes coming out of the ground. And I don't mind that there's stupid stuff in it, but like for the tone they're going for at Bergenworth, like the fact that like, oh, I've uncovered the Eldritch mysteries. Willem, what is the answer? It's so fucking stupid. And the problem is like, it's worse having seen Gwendolyn. Because Gwendolyn is sort of that, but Gwendolyn is dignified in a sense. Because it's like, Gwendolyn just floats there, like very sort of serenely, and like can shoot you from a distance. And as you get closer, Gwendolyn goes and like reappears somewhere else, and sort of eerie and unsettling. If Willem had been that, if Willem had just been like in a chair and you go up to him and he's like, and he like like the Witch of Hemwick and fades out of existence and fades back in somewhere else, that would be like, that would work. Yeah, but the problem is, and the chair, like, in order to make the fight work, the chair has to be able to turn to face you at any time. So he's basically doing this. He's like,
That's beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. That was me auditioning for the role of Willem in the Bloodborne prequel. Yeah, Vassal's like, Willem could have worked like Old Monk. Willem could have worked like a lot of things. Willem could have worked like Bed of Chaos or something.
Yeah.
Where you, like, Willem was not actually tough, but you had to, like, do a bunch of stuff to actually get to him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I legitimately am glad that we never got, Beatbox Willem spinning like, it's so
I don't know, it would have been pretty
looking.
iconic. Could have been iconic, Richie. One of a kind boss, Beatbox Willem.
It's not, it's just like a worse version of Gwendolyn. This is the problem: is that you make a game that's all about moving quickly and engaging up close, and then what's the boss going to be? Well, how do we make a 90-year-old man in a rocking chair into a formidable opponent?
Oh.
Those are really the noises he makes. I'm not. Yeah, he has a rocket chair.
It's like maybe he has a little jetpack attached to it, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It can kind of be a Bloodborne boss. I've got a skull.
Oh my god, where'd you get that?
It's a candy ball from Halloween. I've also got some vermin. I'm a Thumerian now.
Oh my god. Mood. Volnir, is that you?
We have a lot of it. I have another one.
You have two exact same skulls. Is this for your 41 hammer, K? K? Oh, more. What's Richie, are those store-bought skulls? Or, what's happening? Dinosaur bones?
I'm an Elden Ring boss now. Yeah.
Oh, Rich is trying to make the one reborn. That's right, Danielle.
It's 4 a.m. This is the content you get. I'm
4
sorry.
a.m. Well, it's time to wrap this up. Poor Rich is
No, I think I'm just hitting my stride.
Oh, God.
Increasingly losing my mind, stuck here with a box of Halloween props.
Oh, my God. Why do you have them? Are you making a movie?
I have these. Alright, this is why I have them. Because I got one, right?
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that'll be useful one day. Because it's like a good quality, big, solid skull. I'll find some use for it.
Of course.
And then I realized when I got it home that the back of it is literally, it's just screwed in.
Okay.
So I can, just like, without damaging it, actually remove the back.
Okay.
And I thought that's going to be really useful one day. I don't know what for yet.
Okay.
But this was during Halloween,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, they're not going to sell them after Halloween, so I just
Okay.
bought another one. So I have a
Right.
backup in case I have a better idea or I somehow break this one.
Thank you, Richie.
Hang on. Oh, look. It's Bloodborne.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a spider.
Spider. No, that's just
There we go.
Australia.
I look like a Dungeons and Dragons character, like a drow. A priest of lol.
Oh.
Yeah. This I just bought it
That's
at
very
Toy.
cute.
I actually have another one too.
That's super cute. Are they
I
actually
bought them.
vermin or?
Well, I bought them because they looked like vermin, and I showed Meth.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "Why do you have them?" And I said, "They look like vermin." She said, "Oh yeah, that's normal." I thought, you run Bloodborne wiki.
Ouch!
You have
Shade!
70 copies of Demon Souls.
Shade!
Please don't judge me, man. I've also got some Mod Podge. Willem, but this is his staff.
Aww. Looks like a Sailor Moon thing. Fake
This is
name
it,
is
yeah.
saying, this is all very interesting, but what does it have to do with Katekyo Hitman Reborn?
That's true. Sin, tell us more about Katekyo Hitman Reborn.
Well, Reborn Season 2 starts with subverting our expectations about the entire genre of anime. So I can't tell you more about it, because once it
Ooh.
happens, you'll be like, oh, yes, of course.
Is the subversion that there's a tournament arc and
No,
all the
not
characters
this,
have
something
different weapons?
else. Something else that my boyfriend confirmed that this is strange that it happens in anime.
Uh-huh.
So, there we go.
Redrift is suggesting I'm trying to make my own chalice dungeon. This actually does look like the Ailing Lauren chalice. Could put all kinds of crap in here.
We should try to make our own ritual chalice drink.
I remember I was at Big W, which is like an Australian like cheap shit store, and it was incredibly tacky. It was like it was like the shape of a Bloodborne chalice, but it was pink see-through plastic full of glitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to you, and I was like, "Is this my chalice?"
Definitely. Okay,
Yes.
so what we need to do is go to the alcohol store, buy some drinks, and then we mix them. Oh, and food colorant and drinks. Then we mix them, and then we make chalice drinks.
Herb suggests I should make pizzas based on Bloodborne bosses.
Yeah.
I made those heart-shaped ones that I showed you.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The boss of love in Bloodborne. Love and tranquility.
Oh, church leader Mikolash. Oh, okay, yeah. So, the pudgy guy in the robe is a character that we literally have no idea who they're supposed to be. We thought for a while they were an existing character called Father Norbert. But, as far as we can tell, Norbert was never on screen. It's because so much of the game is just, like, stealing from Coppola's Dracula. There's just a guy who looks like Anthony Hopkins, and he's wearing a Healing Church robe. And we have no idea who he was or what he was supposed to do, but he existed at some point. He doesn't have animations. That's sort of the big giveaway that we're like, maybe it's not worth looking into this, because he's literally just a T-posing old guy. Going,
oh, so he's from Cyberpunk 2077.
oh, owned.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have no idea who that was supposed to be. Church leader Mikolash was a thing, but it's like there's a version where when you beat, not Amelia, but where Amelia is in the game. So when you beat the boss of the Grand Cathedral, who in this version is the Cleric Beast, Mikolash shows up. And he says, "Oh, thank you for like killing, for like putting Father Norbert to rest." Blah 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 blah. He's like, "I'm the leader of the church. My name's Mikolash. If you want to know like the secrets of like what's going on, he says like I can tell that you're like seeking knowledge and things like that. So if you want to know more about what's happening here and you want to resolve the problem and you want to free yourself from, he knows you're in the dream actually, and he says if you want to escape the dream, the knowledge you seek is in the university, meaning Bergenworth, and he sends you to the university. And then the next lot of dialogue is him going mad, followed by him being the boss version. So he goes from like normal helpful NPC to like kind of like jittery and muttering to himself to like, ooh. So, and you'll probably recognize that as, oh, that's just Big Hat Logan from Dark Souls, and it is indeed Big Hat Logan, and then you realize Mikolash has a big hat.
Whoa!
So, the thing about church leader Mikolash is I think he's supposed to be lying. Because like I have the script written down. Like it was subtitled and everything. And it says like, "Oh, thank you for putting Father Norbert to rest. My name's Mikolash. I'm the church's ... leader."
Oh.
Which makes it sound like he's going like, "I'm the church's leader?" And I think the idea is like they all like, because they're all dead, he's sort of posing as the leader, and he's like, "Hey, you need to go to this Bergenworth place," because he wants to go to Bergenworth because he knows Willem's like knowledge is there. So he's like, "Hey, I'm the leader of the church. Go to Bergenworth. The knowledge you seek is there." But he's actually being like, "No, go to Bergenworth. Get the knowledge. Bring it to me because I want it, but I can't go back there." And that seems to be what sends him mad. Like you bring him the knowledge in the same way that if you get Big Hat Logan access to Seath's archives, he goes mad. So I think it's just that.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't think he was ever the leader of the Healing Church.
Leaders members of the Holy
unless
Church of Bloodborne.
unless he joined and became the de facto leader because everyone else was dead. Because in this version, like, Mikolash and Lawrence are kind of the same guy. Like the
Thanks for coming, Danielle.
Oh yeah, thank you. Bye bye. Yeah, because in this version, like the Bergenworth scholar who leaves with the old blood looks like it's Mikolash. And instead of founding the church, he joins the church which already existed, and he's trying to like learn more about the church. I think it's that. Yeah.
So Mikolash is basically Alfred.
Yes.
Good.
Is there an explanation about how the gravekeeper guarding the door was able to talk despite being dead? No.
Yes, there is. Cosmic magic.
Oh, well. The will of the Force.
Yes.
Yeah. The full answer is he was supposed to be an actual NPC that you would talk to.
No, the real answer is that he's like, hey, what's the password? And you're like, oh, damn, I'll be right back. And you go and try to find the password, and by the time you come back, he's already dead because you took too long.
Okay.
There we go.
He was supposed to be an NPC that you talked to. And then they kind of streamlined it by just making him dead.
I wonder why.
Don't know.
But I actually prefer that, like, he's already dead, because it's more like
I do as well.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, I prefer it this way as well. He has dialogue that specifies it's been 20 years. So, we could have had a canon timeline. But no.
Been dead for 20 years.
No, he says like, oh, my first visitor, I know it must be 20 years.
Wait, so the guy just hangs around there? 20 years, doesn't go anywhere?
He's a servant. It's his job.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very good job. Is it? Does he get breaks? Does he go home to see his family? Like, I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
There's like, that's the version that got subtitled. So I think that's the one they were going with. But there's all these other takes like, oh, my first visitor in half a century. And there's one where he's like, oh, it's my first visitor in a full century. So he's been at the door for 100 years. He spent 100 years. I don't know when he started. Picked it up as a youth. And he's like, oh, first... How is he still able to talk?
Maybe it's actually...
I've literally not spoken for 100 years.
No, Richie, you misunderstand. What happened is it's his first day, and he's just trying to make it seem like he's really good at this, and he's a pro.
Okay,
it's like 100 years I'm doing this. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was served by someone at Subway. It was her first day today.
Aww.
And
did she go? It's been 100 years.
No, it went really badly, but she was really nervous, so I didn't. I was like, "Oh, thank you," and then I took it home and like salvaged.
Oh my god! Aww.
It all fell to pieces as she was putting it together. I know, and I was like, "It's alright," and I took it home and then I like unwrapped it and removed all the ingredients to put them in my own bread. Yeah.
Cool.
As Herb points out, it being Graveguard is kind of a dead-end job.
Do you know what I'm gonna eat after this is over? I have eggs!
What? Yeah.
I love eggs. I'm gonna eat some eggs.
I made angel food cake. That's like pretty much just eggs.
Oh, nice.
It takes 12 eggs to make one.
Wow. It's a lot of eggs.
I know.
Rich is a vegetarian.
Yeah. An egg is what? Well, no, but like an egg isn't a vegetable. But also
egg
it's
is
not
a vegetarian thing because
it's not meat.
Animal.
If you're well, it's an animal product. So if you're a vegan, you don't.
Product, but it's not an animal. It's like nothing comes from.
Well, it's almost an animal.
No, it's like an egg. It's an egg. Isn't it literally just an egg?
Yeah,
like
but it's like
unfertilized egg.
Yeah, but it could potentially be an animal. So there's like.
Yeah, but like.
It comes from animals.
Yeah, it comes from animals. It's like milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The veggie patty inside with vegetables and egg. I actually don't have the veggie patties because they're like gross. I just have the salads. That's why I'm so strong.
Oh God, don't get me
As Sin
started.
well
I
knows.
cannot. Richie's unable to make a fist, and I find it offensive.
No.
It's not. No. No. No, this is not a fist. Make a fist. It's not complicated. Just normal fist. Like you don't. Oh, we're getting there. I don't understand. Why? Why? What are you doing? Why does it look like there's like fingers sticking out? Like this is what
I
it
don't
like.
know. I
I
don't
don't
hit people. So I don't have to make a fist very often
like.
because I'm not confrontational.
No, but it's just like anyone can make a fist.
You'll
I
have to
don't know.
teach me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her pointing out I put all my stats in arcane and strength.
Oh, Al-Hazred will teach you karate.
From what? Yeah.
That's actually from Reborn.
Yeah.
You will. Oh, maybe. Did you already meet the little scientist baby?
I'll level with you. I don't remember anything that happened at all.
Okay.
I remember Haru dressing as a boat, and that's about it.
Okay. Rich's boxing arc. Yes, that's Ryohei. He's a boxer. He's extreme! Yamamoto plays baseball. Mm-hmm. But when he uses his bat and hits the thing really fast, it turns into katana.
Yeah. You don't get a tan like mine not playing Bloodborne, says Rick Larson. You get a tan like mine by literally wearing sunscreen every time you go outside.
I don't go outside.
Yeah. I walk to the mall because it's exactly half an hour's walk from where I am.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go there and back, and that's an hour.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's why my room is full of crap from Kmart. Because I'm there and I'm like, might as well go to Kmart.
Of course. Do you have a Bethesda store in Australia?
No, I didn't know Bethesda stores exist. Does the Bethesda store just exist online? So, about Osiris's boss room. Okay, what about it?
Yes.
I'm confused about the relationship between Ihil and Loran compared to Yharnam and Thumaru. Everyone is confused. That's all I can say. Like, it's one of those things that, like, we've talked about it before, but, like, initially there was just the labyrinth under Yharnam. It was one continuous physical space. What we know of as Lauren and Ace were just, like, there were just areas in it that were either like sparkly or dusty, and they became Lauren and Ys like later on, and consequently it doesn't really make any sense. Initially, basically, Lauren and Ys were just additional rituals called Cosmic and Storm. So in the same way you make like a fetid dungeon or a rotted dungeon, you could make a Cosmic dungeon or a Storm dungeon, and it was that. And then they made them their own places. And I mean, it makes sense that they did because it ties into like the themes of like the cycles and everything. But consequently, they don't actually make really any sense at all. Sin, do you like pineapple on pizza?
Indifferent.
Really?
Yeah, I like all dressed vegetarian pizza. The best, I think.
Okay. Red Drifter wants to know, are there updates on the multiple Yoshkas? They're Yoshkas. Identical Yoshkas. You could lose your mind. I have no idea. There is a very, very ambitious Dark Souls 3 kind of restoration project going on, where a bunch of modders are trying to work all that back into the game, including like God's Grave and everything. So they might dig up something because they're going through all the data mining.
Cool. Well, I think that's it for today. It's been 3.5 hours instead of our usual 2.
You know what time it is, Sin?
Boom! Hammer time.
It's
420?
420.
Is it 420? Yes!
It's 420.
420. Whoop, 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 whoop.
So I am tired and I have to go to bed.
Alright. Same!
420!
Woo! Alright, everyone. So this is the end of the stream. And, hope you, enjoyed. And, if you... Basically, what we do is, before the streams, we compile the questions, from patrons. So if you'd like to, like, make sure that your question gets answered 100%, you can sign up on patreon.com/SinclairLore on the $2 tier. And for
$2? That's a steal, Sin.
Yeah, it literally is, because you get like 100 clips, and upcoming clips, and questions of Bloodborne.
Oh my god.
Yes.
And you're saying I get all of this for $2?
Yeah, so like literally a Tim Hortons coffee.
But Sin, surely if I pledge more, the content is better.
Well, that's where you're wrong. The best content is free. For $2, you get good content that's a little worse than what's on the channel. For $5, you get content that's worse at the $2 tier and less. For $10, you get worse content and less. For $20, same thing. $25, same thing. And we were like, let's make a joke $50 tier where you have maybe like 5 videos and nothing ever happens. But the joke didn't work because people pledged to that tier. And somebody actually upped their pledge this month to the $50 tier again. Thank you for that, but...
Thank you.
And, there's now the joke
Thank
tier.
you, but are you alright?
They also have some Brutus merchandise, so clearly not. Ooh, shade. And then, so we made a new joke tier, which was the $100 tier, where you get all the previous rewards, right? But the 100 tier reward is the Brutus follows you on Twitter. And we had Ethan, who joined that tier, but he's like, it's fine, I don't have a Twitter. I'm just doing it for the lols.
Well, I don't have a Twitter either, and I am a Brutus, so... It's been exactly a year since I deactivated my Twitter.
Yeah, how do you feel?
It's clear from the look of me that everything's much better.
Yeah.
My skin is clearer. My crops are no longer wilting.
Excellent.
It's easier to pretend I didn't hear from people.
Guess it's about it. Richie, do the outro.
That was Bloodborne AMA 4.
Yes.
I'm so tired I put up 3 fingers. Bloodborne AMA 4. And, that's... I mean, it mostly wasn't about Bloodborne, to be honest. I don't even remember most of it. I'm very tired.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for coming. And we'll try to do this weekly if we have time. So,
Will the next one also be about Reborn?
We'll see. We'll see where the wind takes us. And there will be more Hollow Knight content coming up.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.